This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
The captions captioned that as "Hey Sister, why?" Not the Troll Patrol live. Hey Sister, why? Good evening, welcome. It is the Gimpy News Hour with your friendly neighborhood news gimp. Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Thursday. And as promised, I'm not wearing any pants. Meat cakes, goldfish, good evening. Welcome. You guys okay over there on Twitch? You all have been quiet, or Twitch, listen to me. How it's been fucking almost a year since I've been on Twitch. You guys on Kick. I got the giggles, I'm sorry. I've had an eventful day. First of all, I cut myself like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, and I had to stop the bleeding real fast. So, duct tape. Yellow duct tape at that. Looks like I got a Cheeto on my thumb. I did not have sexual relations with that intern. I'll accentuate that thumb there. Sorry. Okay. These nuts. So, I walked a mile in the snow. Literally. It feels like a story that I would tell my grandkids. I walked a mile in the snow to buy marijuana. Only had to go a mile one way. I was willing to do the mile back, but the dude was willing to give me a ride. So I come back from walking my mile in the snow to get my weed. I video chat my buddy Battle Opossum. I get on with him, and just as I get on with him, Socks throws up right there next to my counter. And I'm like, well, there's a cat throwing up. I forget about it. I forget about the cat throwing up. Cat vomit, not cat turd, who was on Tucker Carlson the other night. I forget about it. I do some work. I decide I need to eat. I haven't ate all day. I walked across town after not eating all day, a mile in the snow to get weed. Come back. I'm doing work. And I'm like, fuck, I need to eat before the stream. So I made fish last night. This entire apartment smells like fish. Apparently they didn't have any catfish at the store. My Instacart driver replaced it with perch. Perch fucking stinks. That is the smelliest of the smelly fishes, I assure you. So I make fish sticks last night. So I have fish sticks, I have macaroni and cheese in the refrigerator. So I decide I'm going to go heat up some macaroni and cheese, the fish sticks. Somehow, when I went to the kitchen, I did not step in the vomit. But as I'm coming back, first of all, I go to put my food in the microwave, and I realize my microwave is fucking nasty. There's all kinds of splatter in the back. I spilled chocolate in it last night. So, it's just completely fucking nasty. So I clean out the inside of my microwave. As I've got my food ready to eat. And we're talking like I'm counting down. I need to get ready for the stream. I clean my microwave, put my food in, let my food warm up, pull it out. And as I'm walking, get my fork. I don't like tartar sauce because I don't like pickles. So I kind of make my own tartar sauce, usually with a Italian dressing and mayonnaise. Today was mayonnaise and sriracha. Clinically, Warlord, good evening. So my camera's fucking up, my computer's fucking up, I can't get on Discord on my desktop anymore. I feel like there's something wrong with my Windows. Gonna reformat over the weekend. So I get my food, I'm coming from the microwave, I'm coming around the counter, and I step in that vomit. And I mean, I don't just like barely step in it. I mean, I like fucking right smack in the middle of it, all over my fucking foot. And like, I almost vomit myself from stepping in it. So I had to put my food down, hop to the shower, take my third shower of the day. Took a shower this morning, took a shower when I came back from walking across the fucking town in the snow. Yes, and it was very cold. I don't know which would ick me out more, cold or warm. But it was very, very cold. So that's my day. How's yours? Cold is worse. Okay. Damn it, socks. But here is the redeeming thing, right? So other than that, it's been a fine day. I've enjoyed everything else. Apparently, it's gonna snow here tomorrow. Apparently, we're getting another snow, like an ice storm tonight and a snowstorm tomorrow. That's why I was like, well, I can't get somebody to take me to the dispensary tomorrow. I need to find some marijuanas. Mitochondria, good evening. So here's where we're at. I have this. A bong. Here's the thing is I've been known for taking bong rips on this stream numerous times. However, this may be the longest I have ever gone without taking a bong rip on the stream. I tried to think about it. Did I do bong rips in November at any point in time? I can't exactly remember, because I think most of November I was smoking that vape. So it may very well have been back in October since I've taken bong rips. Now, I've smoked pot. I've smoked plenty of pot. But I have not been on the bong. Kind of got hooked on it there. I was like, it smokes up so much faster in a bong, but it gets you so high so quick. So this will be my first bong rip in possibly 3 months. Speaking of 3 months of marijuana, the 420 anniversary special coming up. Almost 3 months from now. You don't have to beam me some weed. I got plenty now. There's smiley faces on the bag too. Check that out. I appreciate the sentiment though, Cosmic Fox. So here we go. First bong rip in months on the stream. Oh yeah. I cut my, so when I went to go get the bong, I have a piece of welding glass that I used to do 2D drugs off of. And apparently it's chipped at some point in time. So as I'm reaching down to get my bong, I sliced my thumb open. It looks like it's good. I don't have any blood on my thumb. Unlike Donald Trump, who had blood on his thumb the other night, leading to speculation that he may have syphilis. That is the story we're going to be talking about tonight, that Donald Trump may have syphilis. Now, I have speculated this numerous times here on this very stream. But I was speculating due to the fact that he's losing his goddamn mind by the day. If he ever had one. Which tells you to go deeper. No PP left for this move. Just golf hand. See, seriously, it was freaking me out when I was smoking that vape. I couldn't take a hit without coughing. Look at me. I just cleared that chamber like a fucking champ. That's how we get people that vote Biden.
Come on, man.
Kelly, good evening. I know his body is 95% McDonald's grease because he eats McDonald's like every day, apparently. He switches it up some, as I understand it. Like, he likes a Subway, and he likes a, what else did he like to eat? But it was like McDonald's every fucking day. How is he still alive? We're going to talk a lot about Trump tonight. Trump's legal team questioning E. Jean Carroll during the defamation case taking place in New York City. Apparently, Trump's lawyer, Alana Abba. Apparently, she's really fucking dumb. Really, really, really fucking dumb. And is in way over her head. There was a ruling today in the federal case against Trump, the Jack Smith hijacking of the election interference case. There we go. What was that dude's name? Morgan Spurlock? Was that his name? I could see he and I and Tom Green and Chris Elliott. Fucking, that's a police lineup right there. You wouldn't be able to tell. I hate that we gotta talk about Israel, but there's been a lot of fucking talk. There's been a lot of shit going on. Israel's attacking Iran. Pakistan's attacking Iran. I think we're attacking Iran. We're attacking Yemen. We're attacking Yemen. I still said it wrong. We're dropping bombs on Yemen. Fuck. I'm trying to say it right and I can't do it now. I'm not wearing any pants. Just in case you thought I was lying to you. Oh. No pants. Apparently that's what got Polly banned. No, I think she showed a titty. I'm not sure. PP girl, good evening. I'm out of the loop. I don't know what happened. If she showed a titty, then perhaps she needs a titty slap.
A titty slap! What the?
Come on now.
PP girl has PP to spare. What was too much information there? Me talking about Polly? I don't have pants on. That's true. I have underwear on, but it did look like I was nude with my little scrawny leg up in the air. My little scrawny hairy leg. It looks like when we were looking at the microscope of the fly's leg the other night. Justin does it. Well, Justin didn't skip leg day today. Justin walked a mile in the fucking snow. I think I got my leg workout in today. Every time I've been in her stream, which isn't a lot, I don't watch a lot of streamers. Okay, coming here on with the new schedule. We're only on twice a week, and I'm stepping back away from this. One of the things I've been able to reflect on is I don't like other streamers. Like none of them. Producer Dave, I love that motherfucker, but he is my friend beyond streaming, right? I don't know him just from the streaming world. I met him long before streaming. Fair enough, coddled Americans. It was through a downtown area, though. Humans suck. That's true. I used to have a shirt that said "I hate humans." You can get that from my friend at Toxic Teas. But I don't like streaming. I don't like the people that do streaming. There's very niche YouTube content that I like. I've been watching this gay guy go back and talk about the VMAs from the 90s. I don't know why this is so fascinating to me. Probably because I watched the VMAs in the 90s, and because he's funny. He's really good at it, so I don't even know why I called him gay. He's got that way of talking, and he's dishing like, you know. It's kind of, I'm being stereotypical here. Fair enough. It's hard not to like Producer Dave. He's good people. Hold on, let me finish running down what that news be doing. We're gonna be talking about tonight. We got all kinds of shit. Probably not as much bullshit at the end as I would like, but the bullshit's kind of scattered throughout. Like, we're gonna laugh at Ted Cruz. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Apparently, Democrats just openly mocked Ted Cruz. Fox News. This is interesting to me. They've been pushing this one. They apparently said that Max Frost got torched. This is the representative, the freshman representative, the youngest congressman ever. Max Frost apparently made a point about the Statue of Liberty, and Fox News is trying to take him to task for it. We'll see. We'll come to our own conclusions. The officials in Texas have released video of migrants being arrested at the border as Texas continues to defy federal orders. Someone's going to have to explain to me who Charlemagne the God is. He's apparently blaming the Biden administration for the problem at the border, saying working class people. Charlemagne the God is saying working class people are upset over the migrant crisis. We're talking about Trump and his possible syphilis, as I alluded to earlier. Could have possibly caught the syphilis in one of his many sexual entanglements. Speaking of sexual entanglements, this is a story that I've stayed oblivious to other than the headlines that I've seen. Fani Willis, the prosecutor in Georgia. And guys, it's hard to stay oblivious to news when you're not on for 3 or 4 days now. It's hard to not be a pre-watch Andy, but guess what? Justin has stayed oblivious, and it's kind of blissful. Ignorance is indeed bliss. Apparently, Fani Willis had some sort of sexual entanglement with a prosecutor she appointed to the case against Trump. An investigation has been ordered. We'll see if it's any more than right-wing balderall, poppycock, or malarkey, if you will. The Department of Justice released a report on the Uvalde police that you could basically title, "Well, duh, motherfuckers." It took you, what? It's been like a year and a half since Uvalde happened. If not longer. For you guys to conclude that the cops fucked up? Really? The apparent suicide of an HBCU administrator prompted calls for one of the presidents to resign. We've just got presidents of colleges all over the place. Calls for resignation. This one. I cannot wait to talk about this. Apparently, Scott Peterson, the convicted murderer, did he murder his kids and his wife? Or just his wife? Like they were newlyweds, they didn't have any kids? I don't remember the details. This happened like in the 90s, the early 2000s. This is one of those like cases that put Nancy Grace on the map back in the day. But apparently the Innocence Project, who I have given money to, who I think does a wonderful job, they are coming to his defense. I am very interested to hear what we got going on in this case. Speaking of court cases, we're going to talk about a renowned client scientist who has spent 18 years, 17 years, something like that, for his defamation suit to go to trial. Saudi Arabia saying they will officially recognize Israel. What? Israel's attacking Iran. Do those two things have something to do with each other? I don't know. Hey, Warlord, you here? We could use your insight when we get to this BBC anchor. You're not going to make it. That's going to be way later in the show. A BBC anchor is in hot water for apparently violating BBC's impartiality rules. They call him the Tucker Carlson of England or some shit. Monday was MLK Day. So you know there had to be plenty of bad takes floating around. I read one for you from a Republican in North Carolina on Monday. Tonight, we're going to find out why Charlie Kirk hates Martin Luther King Jr. Remember the Covington kid? The kid that stared at the native guy that was like a drummer protesting. I don't even remember what they were protesting now. It was at the Capitol. I want to say the kids were there for a pro-life march. The Covington kids, Nicholas Sandman penned an op-ed in Newsweek. We're gonna give that a read. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. Welcome. Good evening. Next. He rented a boat the same day his wife went missing. Wait, okay. So the camera's really starting to fuck up now. Do you guys see it, or is it just me seeing this? Is that going out? Huh. I'm gonna reformat my hard drive. Yeah, like it may be time for a new camera. I've actually bought a new camera and tried to replace this one. I went full 4K and it just didn't work. It was doing shit like that, but like way worse. Hey, I used a PS3i for a while. It was far more rare, but it's getting more frequent, so it's gonna be time to grab us a new camera soon. That should be pretty doable. Justin been doing well. Putting the time that I'm not streaming to very good use. Because apparently, like this time right now, this is my productive time. This is when I get the most shit done. Probably played a factor into me choosing this time to do the stream as well. Alright, let's start off with the government's not shutting down. As of just like an hour ago. Maybe 2 hours ago, possibly. We're going to see a government shutdown. Congress passes a bill to avert a shutdown, sends it to Biden. We've done this dog and pony show before. U.S. House of Representatives on Thursday approved a stopgap bill to fund the federal government through early March and avert a partial government shutdown, sending it to President Joe Biden for final approval. I might not be high enough for this. Maybe I'm too high. One way to find out, right? Republican bitches indeed, Warlord. We're getting ready to hear from one of them in just a second. We have good news for America. There will not be a shutdown on Friday. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, a Democrat, said on the Senate floor just before the vote in that chamber. That sentiment was not shared by some far-right House Republicans. It's a loss for the American people to join hands with Democrats, form a governing coalition to do what Schumer and the Senate want to do, said House Freedom Caucus Chairman Bob Good. Both chambers accelerated their votes because of a forecast for a snowstorm on Friday that could have snarled lawmakers' departure for the weekend. The Democratic majority, heaven forbid they have to stay in Washington, D.C. for the weekend. They don't get to fly out and go home. Democratic majority Senate and Republican-controlled House are far behind in carrying out their basic duty of funding the government for the fiscal year that began on October the 1st, with lawmakers scrambling to keep the lights on to give them more time to pass a full-year bill. Was doing so well. A full-year bill. Schumer in the House Republican counterpart, Mike Johnson, early this month agreed to a $1.59 trillion discretionary spending level for the year that ends on September 30th. But in a sign of how bitterly the Congress is divided, the two parties now disagree on that number, with Democrats saying the actual amount agreed to is $1.66 trillion. The intense jockeying between House Republicans seeking deep spending cuts and Democrats amid a $34.4 trillion national debt that is rapidly escalating and has prompted worries in part because of the heavy interest payments now being borne by the Treasury Department. The third stopgap funding bill, known as a continuing resolution or CR, would simply extend last year's fiscal spending. I've missed the bong. Simply extend last fiscal year's spending levels until two deadlines of March 1st and March 8th for completing action of spending for various government agencies. Let's get to a Republican being bitchy about it so I could just make jokes and not have to read right now. This is Warren Davidson, Representative Warren Davidson, a Republican from Ohio. He voted against the continuing resolution.
Speaker, I always tell people back home, beware of bipartisanship. The most bipartisan thing in Washington, D.C. is bankrupting our country, if not financially, morally. And as my colleague from Texas just highlighted, it's not just the spending, it's all the terrible policy.
Morally bankrupting the country. That, knowing them, I would probably be in favor of whatever they feel is morally bankrupting the country. I'm down with it. Debauchery and delights.
These that are attached to the spending. And we can tell by the way the Time's structured, but it's bipartisan. It's 50-50, Republicans and Democrats. The first unit I was in, one of the mottos, in the first unit I was in the Army, one of the mottos was deeds, not words. The words are so good. I was down at the border with the Speaker and 60 of my colleagues, and we were going to fight. We were only going to fund a border that's secure. We're going to fund the government, but only if we secure the border. We were going to make the Senate counteroffer. And by the time we could even get back to this town, our Speaker had surrendered to a Four Corners deal. The very thing we said we wouldn't do. It's the deeds that are the problem. And if we were back in the minority, we'd be united again. We'd be opposed to this. We were. Just a year ago, we were opposed to it. And the words were good, and the deeds were also good. But now when we have the chance to govern, it seems we've lost our resolve. And who's getting hurt by this? The American people. None of us promised to come here and do this. We promised, as Republicans, things that are in conflict with the Biden administration's promises. And the only way we're going to do that is to force the vote. By going along with this, let's be clear, we're being buried. We're being buried by debt. We're being buried by crime. We're being buried by an invasion at our border.
Crime has gone down.
Buried by fentanyl, buried by drugs, by suicide, by endless wars, by failing schools, by corruption.
He's going to cry.
Frankly, it's a fatal overdose of government. I wish I could just wake up and it not be true. But
I wish I could give you a titty slap.
The gentleman yields.
Come on now.
Gentleman yields. So that was the Republican opposition to the spending bill that passed about an hour, maybe 2 hours ago. Let's watch this clip of Chip Roy being a little bitch. This was before the bill passed.
Are tired of getting a complete lack of representation from their representatives. Nobody in this country looks at Congress and says, wow, heck of a job, guys and gals. Well done. Who would do that? Would we do that? By the way, it does not matter who's sitting in the speaker's seat or who's got the majority. We keep doing the same stupid stuff. Now, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have no problem with wide open borders endangering the people that I represent. None.
It doesn't make any sense.
And my constituents are the ones left holding the bag, and the people of Texas are the ones left spending $12.5 billion. And my people are the ones who have 6 kids die from fentanyl poisoning in the school district that I represent. Yeah, it's not fun to smirk at that, is it, when we're talking about dead children from fentanyl poisoning because of wide open borders, because of the policies of my Democrat colleagues who refuse to do anything about it. Not a thing. Not a thing do my colleagues do about the wide open borders. And I will continue to speak to my colleagues.
I don't know where
This will
fentanyl
be in
comes
order.
from.
The gentleman will address his comments to the chair.
Well, Madam Speaker, I am.
Does he think that immigrants are like full of fentanyl? Like their insides are made of fentanyl or some shit? Like that's like I'm not comprehending the connection.
Addressing my comments to the chair.
The House will be in
That's
order.
what they call righteous indignation.
I'm addressing the chair on behalf of the people that I represent who are dying in Texas because of Democrats. Directly because of Democrat policies.
I believe it's the Republican policies that are causing migrants to drown. There were 3 that just drowned the other day. Apparently, Texas refused to let the feds intervene to save them. It is gruesome. That is the state that he is from.
And they can shake their heads all they want, but the blood of the people in Texas are on their hands. My colleagues flippantly dismiss the fact that people in
2 of them were
Texas
children.
are dying because of their policies, and that the migrants that they pretend to care about are dying because of their policies, and then lie and say that Texas is responsible for migrants who die in the Rio Grande River when their own Department of Justice offers the truth, which is those migrants died in the river and were pulled out by Mexican authorities before Border Patrol was ever contacted. But they have no problem lying to the American people, just like Alejandro Mayorkas lied to the American people about Border Patrol agents whipping Haitian migrants. It is something that happens over and over and over again. But the question for my colleagues on this side of the aisle is, what are we going to do about it? Keep writing them a blank check? Keep saying, here you go, here's more money, Secretary Mayorkas? Leave us exposed? Leave people dying? Leave children dying from fentanyl? Migrants dying in the Rio Grande? So we can go out and campaign on border security?
Yeah.
Why don't we do something about it?
Yes, that's what we're going to see the Democrats respond to you and say that, you guys are refusing to pass the bill. Jumbie Tarnish. I don't know. I do politics. I can't really. The all-time high in loneliness and depression. Part of that could absolutely be attributed to the fact that we diagnose depression now, whereas like it wasn't something that we diagnosed before. You know, it's like, why are there so many left-handed people? You know, when it became acceptable to be left-handed because society didn't beat the shit out of you. A good part of it could be attributed to that. A good part of it could be contributed to the fucking, we live in a late stage capitalist hellscape. It's all interconnected. You force people to have to work more than 40 hours a week just to get the fuck by. People out here pulling 60, 70, 80 hours just to fucking make ends meet and put food on the fucking table. Tell me you wouldn't be fucking depressed then? You wouldn't be fucking lonely? That kind of shit. Having to work long hours puts stress on your relationships, on your friendships, on your significant others and romantic partners. I'm sorry, I got on a little. I've been hitting the bong, so like that question, just like I'm fielding this question. Hold on, I didn't say hey to somebody that snuck in here on me. Quesadilla, good evening. Yeah, fuck Chip Roy. You're welcome. You just caught me at the right time. We usually just do politics around here, but like I've been hitting the bong. Let's talk. That's a philosophical kind of question. Well, I mean, I guess you could approach it from many different ways. You know, some people would be clinical about it and talk about, you know, the diagnosis thing. But like I would only attribute, you know, the diagnoses to that, like capitalism. Like, how much does that play a role in it? Just people being worked to fucking death and not being able to get by. Different factors play a different role for everybody. It's not a one size fits all thing. Fuck you, Chip Roy. Yeah, they're calling him on the border. We're gonna we'll go ahead and cover this. Make sure I come back to Ted Cruz. Since we're talking about border shit. This is oh god, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I say that every time. We hit the content warning. Joe and Mika are going to introduce this clip of Representative Merkowitz calling out the Republicans for not funding a solution for the border.
The hearing yesterday on border security, Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz of Florida crystallized how House Republicans are just playing cynical politics with the issue.
If you listen to my colleagues, you would think the world didn't begin until President Biden was elected. You would think it was dinosaurs, the wheel, Jesus, the world was flat, the world was round, Biden was elected, every problem. Like nothing happened before. In fact, President Obama deported more people in each term than President Trump. Well, hold on a second. If the border wasn't a problem until President Biden was elected, then how were we deporting all of these people
I'm not wearing any
in administrations before Trump was elected? It's because this situation has been going on for decades. So stop lying to the American people that none of this happened until President Biden was elected. Just listen to the speaker, who was caught on a call the other day saying that we can't solve the border crisis until after
He's straight.
By the way, here's Congressman Troy Niels giving it all away. Giving it all away. Let's
No. He might be a little gay. He bi. He suck a little dick. Come on.
Read this.
He's cute. I'd fuck with him.
He's talking about immigration. Let me tell you, I'm not willing to do a darn thing right now to help a Democrat, to help Joe Biden's approval rating. I will not help the Democrats try to improve this man's dismal approval ratings. I'm not going to do it. He's
sitting over there in my
not
wafu.
going to do anything on the border. And he's from Texas, which needs help. I'm willing to do stuff on the border. I'm willing to do it. But they're not willing to do it because they're doing what people hate about this place. They want to use it to raise money. They want to use it to politicize it. But they don't want to solve the issue. There's a deal on the table. They can solve the issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Saying the quiet part out loud in some ways. I mean, Jackie, when it comes to border security, there actually is quite a lot of agreement, as we've seen, between Republicans and Democrats. Yes, Republicans want some measures that are more stringent, but you have Democrats in the House and in the Senate saying, absolutely, we have to do something on border security. Where does this leave, though, the issue of Ukraine? Because I keep hearing from senators that they're confident that America will not abandon the Ukrainians. They know what that would do to allies around the world.
Oh, we're talking about Ukraine.
And they know the cost of doing.
That's not what we came here for. But Merkowitz was calling them out on the border. All of a sudden, let's talk about Ukraine. No, I'm still talking about the border. Officials in Texas have... Fuck Morning Joe. He deserves a titty slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Authorities in Texas have released video of migrant arrests on the border.
Texas law enforcement officials posting videos of state troopers arresting migrants in the border town of Eagle Pass. It comes as House Republicans held a second impeachment hearing today against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Bradley Blackburn has the story.
The Texas Department of Public Safety posted video on social media of state troopers handcuffing migrants at Shelby Park in Eagle Pass. It is the latest escalation in a standoff between Texas officials and the U.S. Border Patrol in an area where large numbers of migrants have crossed in recent months.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
On Capitol Hill, Americans impacted by the situation at the border testified before lawmakers. Tammy Noble's 20-year-old daughter, Kayla, was sexually assaulted and murdered in 2022, allegedly by a 17-year-old gang member who entered the U.S. illegally.
Kayla fought for her life that day with all that she had, and in the end, she lost to an individual that wasn't even supposed to be allowed in the country.
Nobles told her story to a Republican-led House committee holding its second impeachment hearing against Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who is in charge of the Biden administration's border policies. Secretary Mayorkas wasn't at the hearing. Instead, he spoke about immigration at a conference with U.S. mayors.
The collaboration and coordination that is needed is not only among federal, state, and local officials. It is also between us and Congress as we work to fix what everyone agrees is a broken immigration system.
Also this week, a federal appeals court reversed an order requiring Texas to move a controversial floating barrier on the Rio Grande, meant to keep migrants out. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Wow.
A vote on Mayorkas' impeachment by the full House could happen as soon as next month. It would be a first for a cabinet official in nearly 150 years.
Well, we got that to look forward to, I guess. Well, I better time out, Clint. How are you people not even like? Don't you all like have the French next to your name? Texas defying the feds, as they kind of went into with that story. Also has CBS News piece.
Back to the U.S. and that public park in Texas along the border. The state attorney general defied federal officials who demanded authorities vacate it. CBS News immigration reporter Camila Montoya Galvez joins us now to discuss. Camila, thanks for being with us again. Let's step back for a minute. In Texas, what is the basic fight about, whether it's with respect to on the border itself or in this park? What is the basic issue at play here?
That's Scott Paley.
Good evening, John. This showdown
John
at the U.S.-Mexico border is essentially the latest example of the state of Texas trying to test the limits of its authority on immigration, which, as you know, is an issue that traditionally has been regulated by the federal government in Washington, D.C., not by individual states. The Department of Homeland Security had given Texas state officials until the end of the day today to say that they would abandon this effort to block Border Patrol agents from this public park in the border town of Eagle Pass, Texas. Texas commandeered this public area last week with National Guard soldiers and has since blocked Border Patrol from processing migrants there. This is an area that I visited several times in December. Border Patrol had been using it, John, to hold migrants in a staging area while they awaited further processing in a more long-term detention facility. Now Border Patrol cannot access this area. Texas is saying that they need to do this to deter illegal crossings by migrants, but the agents...
This is just absurd because we're supposed to be the land of the free. Give us you're tired, you're weak. Fucking what? And like we have never in the history of the fucking country lived up to the ideals that we espouse. Fuck all the way off.
See, Border Patrol, that is saying that this is impeding their obligations.
Tired, you're weak, you're yearning,
and that
whatever the fuck.
They are doing this. Texas is doing this even during emergency situations. The Border Patrol is saying that Texas is denying the agency access to the park even when they want to respond to migrants who are in distress
yearning to be free.
On Friday, tragically, we saw a mother and 2 children drown in the Rio Grande near Eagle Pass. Border Patrol requested access after the family had drowned, but they were trying to rescue other migrants who were in distress, and the agency said that Texas denied them that request. So this is a legal fight, yes, John, but it is also one that has humanitarian implications.
So the debate here is not just about whether Texas is overstepping its authority to handle a federal issue, but whether in so doing, Texas is actually keeping the federal authorities from doing what they're trying to do. And let me tag on, what's the next legal step?
As I understand it, like we're not getting Mexican immigrants so much anymore. Like Mexico has been, their GDP is increased and they have been doing well economically. As I understand it, we're getting migrants that are claiming asylum from countries that we have fucked up. And some of them is like shit that we did, 40 years ago in Guatemala, in Honduras, Panama. It's kind of our fault. It's not anywhere near the majority anymore, as I understand. We're getting a lot of Haitian immigrants. Because, we have interfered in Haiti, but also, Haiti's had a fucked up history, and Haiti has had a run of bad luck with natural disasters. Yes, we keep interfering with countries in South America, and then we wonder why there's a bunch of migrants on our borders. It's fucked up. I don't understand it. And they use the few cases that they can find where, a girl was raped and killed allegedly by a migrant to make an emotive argument when, the majority of the people that are fleeing are, families that are doing it because they don't want to be around the violence and the destabilized government that we have caused. Yeah, we fucking flooded Argentina with Nazis. It's insane. Everything is kind of America's fault at this point. And we're dealing with the consequences. It used to be the UK, it used to be Britain. Everything was Britain's fault. And over the years, we've kind of got away from it. And now it's kind of all America's fault. It's reverberations of shit we've done. Yes. If there's one thing that America hates more than anything, it's admitting when we fucked up. That is exactly right.
In this fight.
Well, the Department of Homeland Security had said
kind of is Britain's fault. Yes. But we've had autonomy from Britain for a while, and we've really fucked it up. Like, Britain has done better, not significantly better. They ain't been giving no fucking diamonds back. Like, that would be a really good gesture on behalf of Britain to make amends for some of the shit they did. Britain has done considerably better than the United States on a lot of issues. Not everything, but considerably better than the United States.
And John, and did not abandon this effort in Eagle Pass, Texas, that it would refer the matter to the Justice Department for a potential legal
They're having
action
their own migrant crisis.
that could take shape in the form of a lawsuit. We have already seen the Biden administration take some legal steps against Texas. Most importantly, the Justice Department a few weeks ago filed a lawsuit, John, against the state over SB 4. That is a state law set to take effect in March, John, that will criminalize unauthorized immigration at the state level. Crossing into the U.S. outside of a port of entry is already a federal misdemeanor, John, but the state is now trying to allow local police and state troopers to arrest migrants on state criminal charges of crossing into Texas illegally. It will allow the state to prosecute and jail those migrants on these state charges, and the Justice Department is saying that this is unnecessary because this is already an action that is illegal under federal law, and that the state is again trying to test the limits of its authority on immigration, which at the end of the day, according to the Constitution and laws passed by Congress, is an issue that is regulated and overseen by the federal government.
Yes.
Indeed, Camila Montoya Galvez, thanks so much as always.
And I want to talk about American exceptionalism, not as like, the ideal, with the negative connotation, the way that we know it. I want to actually be exceptional as a country and believe in freedom and democracy and all that good shit. I want to be exceptional. I think we can be. I know some people are negative. Some people are here because they just want to watch the world burn, and it's kind of a weird dichotomy to watch me play like serious news and make fucking jokes about people's names and shit. Charlemagne the God. Speaking of making fun of fucking names, what kind of name is that? Somebody explain to me who this motherfucker is. I don't even know. Charlemagne the God says that working class people are extremely frustrated with migrants and Biden's to blame. Is he a rapper? I don't remember. I keep up with music.
I have the privilege of, being involved in my community from, New York to New Jersey to South Carolina, where I get to look people in the eyes and have, real conversations, with them. And, people are really concerned about this issue. Like I honestly have never spoken to as many people who are concerned about the migrant issue as I have, over the past year. And I mean, I've heard everything from, the gang MS-13, overrunning neighborhoods. I've heard, what we saw just happened in New York City, where the migrants, they took 2,000 migrants and put them in the school and made the school stay home, made the students stay home and do school via Zoom. And that was a big issue. Like, I mean, people were calling the radio station, that was just this week, really, really, really complaining about that. So I've never seen, working class people who I interact with every day until this past year really, really, really express their frustration for the migrants. And it's not even just the people. Like, you see politicians who once, championed having the migrants in the city, like the mayor Eric Adams of New York. Now they're like, yo, hold up. This is too much.
Is that the Black Joe Rogan? Is that what I'm seeing? Migrants are usually working class people, aren't they? my friends over here in Brooklyn. Fucking Fox News calls him a multimedia mogul. Mogul implies that he is very wealthy. So tell me what a wealthy man in Brooklyn knows about working class. He said his listeners complain about it. It's called a feedback loop. I pointed this out the other day when we were watching the Fox News interview. Like, the people they were interviewing were just spouting the things that Fox News says back to Fox News. There was no point in interviewing them. What issues matter to you? The border, she said, in bumfucked Iowa. Let's laugh at Ted Cruz. It probably has something to do with the border anyway. Oh, no. It's a judicial nomination. Ted Cruz is going to go off on a judicial nominee.
Next is Mustafa Kujubai, nominated to the District of Oregon. Does anyone seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cruz.
Mr. Chairman, I've spoken about this nominee in the past, and there's a pattern when Democrats have problematic nominees.
Durbin just shook his head.
Ones that would be embarrassing if their support for those nominees were widely publicized. They do what they're doing today, which is they flood the zone with nominees and they pack the objectionable ones in the middle, hoping no one notices. Well, Mustafa Kujubai is a particularly extreme nominee. President Biden has nominated his fair share of wild leftists, but it's not often that one has such a clear track record of, among other things, advocating.
Hey now, Texas has been going bluer and bluer at a rapid rate. We'll get a good measurement here in 2024. I don't think it's going to go blue, but I think it goes blue before the end of the decade. Like, it is happening that fucking fast. When you look at the numbers from the presidential elections over the last, 3 or 4 cycles, it's insane. It went from, fucking 25% Republican wins to, we're in single digits now. Trump won Texas by single digits. It was 6-7%. That's fucking insane to me. So if the swing continues, Texas will be blue soon enough. Because Houston, Dallas, they are the powerhouses of Texas. They're the reason why Texas has such a high GDP.
For Marxist outcomes. Judge Kujubai has previously advocated for, quote, the integration of Marxist theory into the American economic system. And he has argued for a creative struggle to, quote, redefine property. He's not even bothering to hide his radicalism. And by the way, my colleague Senator Booker accused Republicans of McCarthyism, even if he wasn't sure if it was Eugene, Joe, or Kevin.
What?
But I would note that when I said Democrats are behaving as the Russian Politburo, I was not calling you communists. I was instead pointing to action. What did the Politburo do? It behaved like docile sheep doing whatever dear leader required. Your behaviors can refute the Politburo by having one Democrat vote no on one nominee, but none of you will. You all will do. You behave like the Politburo, which is why I said you behave like the Politburo. And here you have an instance to do so, to decide whether or not you want to vote for a nominee who has advocated for Marxism. Now, that's your choice. But if you always follow the orders of the White House, no matter how extreme the nominee is, then you should.
The quote is DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, is the heart and soul of the court system. Can we say that? Yeah, I just did, and I am saying it proudly. What the fuck does that even have to do with Marx? What?
Shouldn't be surprised when you're compared to the Politburo, because that's what the Politburo did. I will also point out that Judge Katsubai has required litigants who come before him to refer to one another by their preferred pronouns and pressured party to include their gender pronouns on their signature block. Now,
he condemns pronouns.
Litigated cases in front of a lot of judges. I've never seen a judge do this anywhere in the country.
It had a pronoun in it. It had a pronoun in it.
And it gives you a sense of just how extreme and radical this is. He's going to impose his ideology on you. If you're a litigant, you will knuckle under to this extreme ideology. He also proclaimed that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is the heart and soul of the court system. In fact, he went on to say, can we say that? Yeah, I just did, and I'm saying it proudly.
Okay.
Senator Booker, who is my friend, who I work with quite a bit.
Why is that controversial?
All of the Democrats are horrified by what's happening on college campuses. I wish that were a true statement.
There was a Babylon Bee headline the other day that was like, DEI hires blind pilot to fly plane. And I'm like, you motherfuckers are so stupid. Like it.
But I don't see Democrats speaking up, taking on the anti-Semitism at college campuses, taking on the DEI that is resulting in Jewish students feeling persecuted because radicals treat Jews as oppressors and treat Hamas terrorists as victims.
Wait.
I certainly don't want federal judges making decisions on the basis of race or vague expressions of leftist ideology. There's a reason that Lady Justice is blind, because a judge is not supposed to show prejudice or preference one way or the other for any race, for any religion.
How blind are we
talking?
talking?
A judge is supposed to follow the law. And finally, what was particularly concerning was Judge Katsubai's actions during the violent...
How blind of a pilot are you comfortable? Okay, who is comfortable with an entire, like, fucking, there's levels of blindness. I should know this, right? Like, I can't see anymore.
Violent riots we saw all across the country in 2020.
You can swerve a little
Portland,
bit.
Oregon suffered months of violence.
I think it's the landing
at the
you
hands
worry
of
about.
Antifa rioters, specifically singling out the Marco Hatfield Federal Courthouse for attack. For 60 days, 6-0, radicals laid siege to a federal courthouse, attempting to set it on fire.
There he is.
Throwing Molotov cocktails, fighting federal officers, injuring law enforcement officers day after day after day, even using lasers to permanently damage the eyes of some of the officers.
Freaking laser beams.
The city of Eugene saw what was happening in Portland and tried to prevent that from happening in Eugene, Oregon. But Eugene is where Judge Katsubai presided. The city of Eugene sought to enforce a curfew to prevent similar violence in Eugene. And what did Judge Katsubai do? He blocked it. Not only did he block it, he retaliated against the city manager that enacted the court.
I think I like this Katsubai guy.
That enforced the curfew. He denied them qualified immunity. In essence,
vote for him. I vote
to be
for
sued
him
for trying to protect the citizens of Eugene, Oregon, and keep them safe.
He sounds absolutely delightful.
If you want to know whether a federal judge is going to stand with violent mobs or the citizens, you can look to this case and decide. And if you want to know whether the Senate Democrats are going to stand with the violent mobs or the citizens, you can look to their vote in just a moment.
But the violent mobs are also citizens.
That is not by association, my friend. That is your actions. When you say the word I over and over and over again, no matter the record, Your actions are defining what you're doing. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, he invoked my name. I hate to slow things up, but he did not, to the record.
Do we want to hear Cory Booker, or do we want to move the fuck on? Not a fan of. How old is Ted Cruz? I have no idea. It's sad. He's probably not much older than me. Dick Durbin?
He clarified that he's not calling us communists. He's calling all Democrats docile
docile sheep. I don't know. I kind of want to hear it now.
Cheap. This from a guy who's afraid to face me in basketball since we've gotten here.
Wow. That's why you ain't going nowhere in politics, Cory Booker. How are you even still senator? Because New Jersey. New Jersey senators suck. Does that mean, is anybody here from New Jersey? I've never been. Battle Opossum's been. He hated it. He's like, I will never go back to New Jersey. So apparently, Max Frost, the youngest congressman from Florida, got torched. This is according to Fox News.
In a dramatic break with the White House, more than a dozen House Democrats backed a resolution to denounce the administration's open borders policy in a floor vote yesterday. They are now urging Biden and their fellow Democrats to stop denying.
Oh, I didn't know this was about the border. He's going to quote the Statue of Liberty like I did. Is that what the torch is for? Come on.
Crisis.
I think Democrats need to own the fact that immigration is at a crisis level in this country. It's an economic crisis.
I will agree with her. It is at a crisis level, and there's a way that you fix it. You fund more judges, you fund more immigration lawyers, and that fixes it. We process more migrants because we can do that. That's what I say. The crisis is actually in our legal system not being able to process everybody speedily. That's the crisis, and it's a pretty simple fix. More money to fund more judges and immigration lawyers. It's so fucking simple.
Humanitarian crisis. It is a
humanitarian crisis, yes.
And we need to address it as such.
Yes, she's right. The border is a crisis, and American taxpayers are stuck footing the bill. California is giving migrants free health care. Maine's giving them free housing. New York City's bill for migrant shelters is...
I had somebody tell me that the other day. We're giving them free health care. And I'm like, I kind of doubt that. We don't give anybody anything fucking free. Somebody making money on it somewhere. I assure you. But like... Even so, okay, what they can access ERs and not get deported? Is that what they're talking about? I don't even know. It's probably some made up bullshit or something I would fucking agree with.
Over $5 billion. The list goes on. And now this.
I'm going to leave you with her, and I'm going to go get some tea. I'm not wearing any pants.
Even turning away patients. After illegal immigrants received over $130 million in care they didn't pay for. But some Democrats are still trying to pin the blame on Republicans. Listen.
To my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, let's be honest with immigrants who deserve better than what you're offering them. Don't welcome immigrants if you plan to reject them. If you keep pushing your bigoted H.R. 2 bill, then also pass this bill. I've taken the liberty of drafting it for you. It removes the Statue of Liberty, our largest symbol that tells people to come here. This is who you are, removing the fabric of America. So I want to know which Republican who supports and voted for H.R. 2 will introduce this bill. If you're going to support H.R. 2, and these bigoted measures, the least you can do is not be a damn liar.
Oh, save it.
Yeah,
Well,
yes.
he joins the likes
Agreed.
of Representative Jasmine Crockett,
Yeah.
who claimed it was all about targeting communities of color. What is bigoted about acknowledging the 15 beds closed permanently in that Denver
Kennedy
hospital,
here.
$120 million
Like her
that
shoes.
was not accounted for, the patients they had to turn away because of the irresponsible situation, the crisis at the southern border?
I'm surprised Democrats are still using the Statue of Liberty in this argument, because you know what? For years they told the world, give us your tired, your poor, those yearning to be free, and make sure they come in at the southern border and stay in one of these small towns with no economic infrastructure. If New York City can't take the financial pain, how the hell can some small town in Arizona take it? The hypocrisy of this guy is mind-boggling. Stop it already. You've had enough Democratic mayors who have come out and said, we can't.
So you're for getting rid of the Statue of Liberty is what you're saying. Like, there's only two positions here. You live up to what it says, or you want to get rid. You would vote to get rid of the Statue of Liberty is what you're saying.
Do it. It's crazy. And then who's getting hurt? It's the black and Hispanics in those towns whose kids are being kept out of school so the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, can stay there. They can't get medical care. They're the ones who have voted you into office and you treat them like crap. This guy needs to shut up. And please, Democrats, never bring up the Statue of Liberty again. Don't bring it up.
And the notion that it's somehow about skin color.
What?
No, the migrants are being bused to the sanctuary cities. We are acknowledging the policy, the blanket of protection that these Democratic leaders extended over their cities, the priority that they engaged in that prioritizes everyone else but those who actually reside there and pay taxes.
Like, how? How are there people in middle America watching Fox News and watching these millionaires in their literal ivory tower tell you about what's wrong with your life? It's mind-boggling. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, please.
Yeah, this is what a majority of people in Los Angeles, in California, in New York, this is what they voted for. These are sanctuary city policies. And, you know, I compare it to...
I've been watching the gay guy go back and do 90s VMAs, and I've been getting a lot of Kennedy. And I'll be honest with you, she was fucking funny. Like, every time he shows a clip of Kennedy, she makes me laugh. What happened to you, Kennedy? Why?
It's a sanctuary city saying, we're overrun. We can't afford this. This is too many people. That's like going to a hospital and, you know, the chief of surgery going, there's too many sick people. Where did all these sick people come from? Well, maybe it was the giant cross on the front of the hospital that said emergency room. That's where you're supposed to take people. And if you're really concerned about people of color, as they claim to be on the left, what about the veterans? What about the Vietnam veterans who did not get deferments? And they are the ones who are living on the streets. Right. What about their care? What about their concern?
Yeah. What do you make, Kaylee, of the 14
Vietnam
Democrats
veterans
that broke from Biden that took this stand?
Yeah, I mean, it's unsurprising. It's gotten just that bad. But about Biden, let me say this, because this just came in. Democratic whip Catherine Clark. She was out on another network, and she said that Biden's been working on solutions for the border since day one of his presidency. Okay, well, the RNC decided to fact check that, and they found 94 executive actions rolling back the Trump immigration policy in the first 100 days of the Biden administration. Now, that's what is happening, but why is it happening?
Not a goddamn thing clinically. That's what they want to do. Not a goddamn thing for vets. What about, like, the burn pit bill? That came up, what, a year ago, 2 years ago? It was not that fucking long ago. Was Fox all over the burn pit bill? Come on.
Why is it happening? Go look at the headline of
Richard,
Politico.
good
The
evening.
border deal's forgotten problem, progressives. Jayapal, the head of the progressives, came out and said, we're going to hurt immigrant communities in a progressive base that needs to see a difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
They're all dressed
Latent
nice.
politics. People say, why is Joe Biden doing this? He's terrified of losing that progressive flank of his party. He's beholden to progressives, and that means the rest of the country loses in New York, in Chicago, on the southern border, and across the country.
By the way, that's a new favorite talking point, because we heard that from Kamala Harris yesterday when she was on a talk show saying, you know, well, what we're going to do is we've got this plan. And the reason we can't implement it is because, well, it's an election year. It's always an election year. Wake up. My goodness. It's constantly been, especially for this president, because his numbers have been in the tank for over a year. He's had to run just to catch up to where he was behind with 9.5% inflation. But this idea of the black communities, black
like 3%
and Hispanic
right now.
communities, look at Chicago. I can't wait to see what's going to happen when they host the DNC convention, Obama's backyard, with blacks in neighborhoods who are already saying that they feel like they're being replaced by the illegal immigrants who are coming in and soaking up all the resources and the space.
Yeah, well, they are.
And
I bet his sneakers cost a lot of money.
Yes, so wake up. This is another opportunity to wake up. If 50.
Yes, you're being bamboozled by this motherfucker here on Fox. This is an opportunity to wake up. His sneakers are probably thousands of dollars. I like Kennedy's shoes an awful lot. You gotta admit, the people that are dressing these fucks over at Fox News, they do a good job. We've got a little, like, the blue, the green, the yellow. They really snap for me. I hate all of these people. And as I said, seeing old Kennedy from the 90s, like, it's sad. Why? You were funny, Kennedy. Are they wingtips? I thought they were sneakers. I thought I even saw the Air Jordan, but I might be mistaken now. I thought that was the Air Jordan. They all look nice, but they're millionaires trying to act like they know what the fuck are the concerns of working Joe class in America, and it's weird to me. I don't get how anybody falls for that bullshit. I understand streaming and online content. I understand that a lot more than I understand anyone listening to Fox News. I say I understand it, but then again, I kind of don't understand why anybody would watch me talk about Trump having syphilis. Does Trump have syphilis? What the fuck is wrong with his hands? That looks like some kind of blotch. Trump's bloody red hands are syphilis, says ex-Clinton advisor in wild claim. Former advisor to Bill Clinton, James could be Sharpie. We know about his affinity for Sharpies. Motherfucker. I'm gonna reformat the computer. I'm gonna go to a completely different browser for the show. There's your real good shot of his hands there. I would never watch Destiny or Vosh. Vosh has been super cool to me. What, Warlord, I say Trump and you just pop in here? Is that how this goes? All of these look like scars, hand herpes. Here from James Carville.
If you go to the Drudge Report, and I think it'll still be up, there's a story that talks about
the
Trump
Drudge
hand
Report,
cuts, and you can link to it. They don't look like cuts to me; they look like sores. And I've asked a number of MDs what medical condition manifests itself through hand sores, and the answer is immediate and unanimous: secondary syphilis. All right, I think there's a good chance this man has the clap. And I'm not being particularly secretive about it. I am texting the photo, you can link to it. It's in some operation called the Daily Mail. It's some British thing. It's probably a Fleet Street rag, but maybe the picture was doctored or whatever. But maybe this story will go somewhere, maybe it won't. But I'm telling you, at 1 o'clock Eastern, I'm humping this thing like a young dog on old furniture. Well, I have an idea for the Iowa caucuses. Why don't you just do an Ann Seltzer poll the weekend before they have the caucus?
Is his
Just go
niece
with that
hot?
as opposed to going all the trouble.
God, that's horrible of me.
And do it because as it always was, it was as accurate as a poll could possibly be. And let me tell you, you got to be.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you about a poll.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you in.
No Flash. I'm not from Alabama, Warlord. I'm from Kentucky. It's even worse. And I had a fling with a cousin one time. He was only my half cousin. Listen. Only my half cousin. We have the same grandmother, but not the same grandfather. Who's James Carville or Trump? I fuck James Carville. I hate that man with a burning passion. Clinton, he was Clinton's political advisor. Karl Rove, Bush's advisors over on Fox News. I hate them all. His face is nasty. Speaking of nasty faces, Trump showed his in court today as E. Jean Carroll was cross-examined by Trump's legal team.
Writer E. Jean Carroll back on the stand today in her defamation case against former President Trump.
This time, she was cross-examined by Trump's lawyers. Fox Eye's Antoine Lewis is live in Lower Manhattan. And Antoine, you were inside the courtroom as this...
Antoine, my man.
But no drama today, Natasha, which was not the case yesterday. The writer was on the stand for just under 3 hours, and we also now have a damage estimate in this defamation matter. On the cross-examination Thursday, E. Jean Carroll was asked, did you sue Donald Trump to repair your reputation? She answered, yes. Carroll was on the stand for 2.5 hours during day 3 of the civil trial to determine the amount of damage.
Hey, guys. That picture of Trump. They got the flags right. They got enough flags behind him. Oh my God. And he actually looks like that. That's a pretty good depiction of him. They were probably more flattering with his hair than they should have been.
For 2.5 hours during day 3 of the civil trial to determine the amount of damages she'll receive for defamatory comments made about her by former President Donald Trump. Last May, a jury found Trump guilty of sexually assaulting Carroll back in 1996. She is suing Trump for negative comments on TV and social media and the impact on her journalism career and livelihood. Dr. Ashley Humphreys, a professor of social media studies at Northwestern University,
didn't do Ashley any favors.
The damage amount was between $7 million and $12 million. The ex-president was not in court today. Mr. Trump joined his wife and family in Palm Beach for funeral services of his mother-in-law. The jury in the criminal trial issued a $5 million judgment in Carroll's favor. She is seeking $10 million in compensatory damages in this civil trial and is seeking punitive damages as well. Steve, as you come back to us live, there will be no court tomorrow. The jury decided they wanted to take Fridays off, so court will resume 9:30.
Must be nice.
We'll be here. Back inside to you.
All right, thanks, Antoine. And as he mentioned, Trump not in court, but instead at the funeral of his mother-in-law, Amelia Knobs, Melania Trump remembering her mom as a ray of light in the darkest of days. That funeral took place near Mar-a-Lago in the same church where the Trumps got married in 2005. Knobs died at the age of 78 after an undisclosed illness.
May she rest in peace. Yesterday in court, Trump's lawyer really face planted. Read from Salon. Trump lawyer Alina Habba questioned E. Jean Carroll's income during Thursday's proceedings in the writer's defamation suit against the former president. The judge wasn't pleased with her approach when Habba asked Carroll if she makes a good amount of money from her Substack posts. U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan interjected, according to Politico's Erica Orden. What's a good amount of money? I may not have grabbed the right one. I want to talk about yesterday and her incompetence. Damn it, I lost it. Here we go. For some reason, I had to go to a law school. A law school linked to it. That's how I found the Salon article. Legal experts, Trump lawyer Alina Habba's attack on E. Jean Carroll won't fly with the judge. Judge Lewis Kaplan previously issued an order barring Trump and his legal team from discussing specific aspects, including E. Jean Carroll's past romantic relationships, evidence or arguments suggesting that the former president did not sexually assault her, and that the writer fabricated her account of the assault. However, Habba began her opening line by doing exactly the opposite. President Trump defended himself when publicly accused, she said, before Carroll's lawyer cut her off with an objection. Don't go much farther, Kaplan warned. The judge clarified to the lawyers and the jury that they weren't there to re-examine the case or delve into the reasons behind Trump's actions. The primary focus of the case is to determine the amount that Carroll will be awarded from Trump. This still isn't the right article. I give up. Fuck her. She did some stuff. I fucking read it. I was a pre-watch Andy and even read the article. She did some real stupid shit yesterday. I'm not high enough for this shit. The judge limits new filings in Trump January 6th case, but denied a bid to hold the special counsel in contempt. That's the big part of the story, if there even is a story to this. A federal judge will require special counsel Jack Smith to seek permission before making any additional filings in former President Trump's case for election interference, a small victory for the former president, as the court otherwise declined to advance the filing designed to hold the prosecutor in contempt. The effort from Trump to censure prosecutors came after Smith filed a motion seeking to bar the former president from making certain arguments in court. That filing came as Judge Tanya Chutkan had otherwise paused proceedings in the case as Trump appeals her order rejecting his arguments that he is immune from prosecution as a former president. Chutkan's order paused deadlines in the case. She found Thursday that other actions, like turning over required evidence in the case, did not violate her order or to prohibit any further proceedings that would move the case towards trial or impose additional burdens of litigation on defendant. The stay order did not clearly and unambiguously prohibit the government actions to which defendant objects. Trump tried to find Jack Smith in contempt. Meanwhile, a judge in Georgia has ordered a hearing into the whole Fani Willis saga where she apparently hired somebody she had a romantic fling with to her team.
A Georgia judge in the Trump election interference case has ordered a hearing on misconduct allegations against District Attorney Fani Willis. Washington Post reports there'll be a hearing February 15th. The judge will hear evidence regarding a potential inappropriate relationship between Willis and her lead prosecutor in the case. One of the co-defendants in the case accused Willis of the relationship, but did not provide any clear evidence.
Meanwhile, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports Willis is accusing the lead prosecutor's ex-wife of attempting to obstruct the case against Mr. Trump. Willis's own attorney is arguing she should not have to appear in pre-trial deposition in divorce proceedings between Nathan Wade and his estranged wife.
What?
Spelman.
Sounds like some messy shit's going on. I don't know how I feel if she is fucking him. It doesn't change the case against Trump.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Just saying, like, fucking, I don't change shit, son. He's still guilty as all fuck. I can't believe it took a year and a half for the Justice Department to say the cops in Uvalde suck some ass. The DOJ released a report on the Uvalde cops, and guess what? They fucking suck. They didn't do their jobs. Kids died because of the cops in Uvalde, Texas. It took you a year and a half to figure that shit out. Because I will tell you that it happened right around my birthday, right? So it was like May 22nd or 23rd, something like that. Because it was like right before my birthday. I knew that day. Whatever day that fucking was, I knew that day. The cops fucked up. And they got kids killed.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, we have breaking news. The Justice Department has just released a report on its review of the Uvalde school shooting. The report says police who reported to the scene demonstrated no urgency and failed to treat it as an active shooting situation.
Yep.
The Justice Department also found
May 24th. I knew on May 24th. The cops failed at their jobs.
Uvalde Police Chief Mariano Pargas was best positioned to take command, but didn't. Now, some families of the 19 children and 2 teachers killed in the shooting say they aren't sure the report will bring them any closer to justice. Let's bring in senior coordinating producer of the Justice and Homeland Security, Jack Date, along with ABC's Maria Villarreal, who's in Uvalde, Texas, for more. Jack, a big part of this report focuses on the failures of the 2 police chiefs on the scene that day. So what did the DOJ find there, and what else stood out to you from this report?
So the DOJ did an exhaustive review of the incident. They looked at over 14,000 pieces of evidence, did over 260 interviews, looked frame by frame over body cam video, and what they found was an absolute failure by law enforcement in their response to an active shooter at that school. Other reviews have found similar, but this is the most detailed and exhaustive review to date on the matter. And in particular, they looked at, as you stated, the police chief of the Uvalde Police Department, as well as the police chief of the Uvalde School Police Department. They failed to have command and control over the scene, and they failed to get their officers into that classroom. 77 minutes passed from when officers first arrived to when the door was breached.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed we've only had, one? We've had one, like, at least that we've heard about. I don't know. I've been kind of out of the loop. It's probably been more than one school shooting. There was one, like, the first day back, because we live in mass shooting USA.
And the shooter was neutralized. And in terms of their training, that should never happen. And it was an absolute failure. And as the Attorney General said in his statement, those families deserve better.
Maria, you spoke to some of these families after they met with Attorney General Merrick Garland last night. What are they telling you?
So our team in Uvalde has been in close contact, right, with the families since the incident, so well over a year and a half. And last night, they actually had a meeting, yes, with the team from DOJ. They did not get access to the report last night, but they did get access to the Attorney General, and they were able to speak with him for well over 2 hours. There was a lot of back and forth questions about the report because it is so detailed. And they made very clear to us that they want for the public to see the minute by minute, because at this point, they haven't gotten that kind of access. And I think that there's been some questions and confusion about really and who was responsible. They're also adamant in wanting the names of all of the officers who responded, who were responsible to be out there in the public. They feel like that is part of the accountability factor here. They were given access finally to the report.
Seriously, look at all these pussies.
And as far as we know right
That's
now,
an insult to pussies.
to review it. Most of the families that we've been in contact with.
Jack, in the aftermath of this shooting and all the criticism of the police response, Chief Arredondo took a lot of heat here as a lot of people were blaming him for the delay on law enforcement.
Well, fuck this dude.
He had originally said he didn't consider himself the officer in charge. And now we're hearing from this report that the findings were that there was this other police chief, Chief Pargas, who should have been in charge. So what does that do for this back and forth in terms of ultimately who was to blame here?
Well, in incidents like this, police need to assign clear areas of responsibility, and they need to establish command and control. That clearly wasn't done in this case. But Chief Arredondo became the de facto on-scene commander here, but he didn't have good communications. He ditched his radio, was communicating verbally, and in the initial minutes of the incident, he directed his officers to go towards the classroom, but then they retreated. And once shots were fired, he pulled them back after officers were injured by shrapnel. And at that point, he treated it as if it were a barricade situation, not an active shooter situation. And that led to just a painful, painful delay where more shots were fired, and those children in that classroom were trapped with a gunman.
So, Jack, what happens from here? Could we see anyone charged as a result of this report?
Well, I think the families clearly want some accountability in this matter, but finding the appropriate type of charge and venue for this to hold somebody criminally accountable might be a challenge because the laws aren't really designed for that. But the Justice Department continues to examine whether that might be possible, and local authorities may do so as well.
All right, Jack Jate, Maria Villarreal, thank you both.
Hit the road, Jack.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
Fuck you, George. Salty tonight. Fuck you, dude. Swear to God, I bet George is going to play on this one, too. HBCU administrator's death by suicide has prompted calls for the president's resignation. Antoinette Candia Bailey has accused President John Mosley of bullying.
Herbert Kitchen remembers seeing Dr. Bonnie Candia Bailey at Lincoln University's homecoming.
She was just the epitome of hospitality and generosity.
I spoke with 3 alumni today, Kitchen, Nell Cheatham, and Earl Wheatfall Sr., about Bailey's death and the fallout involving President John Mosley. Kitchen and Cheatham say they spoke with Bailey on January 6th, 2 days before she died by suicide. Bailey shared with them many concerns over Mosley's performance, calling him controlling and unwilling to take input. Bailey said she even asked for time off through the Family Medical Leave Act due to stress and anxiety, but didn't get it. She even reached out to the board in November about the same issues, but was told the board wouldn't intervene.
I laid this situation at the feet of the curators. They should have been aware of what was going on, and as long as
the
bullying, the harassment that she went through was just too much.
Lincoln University Board President Victor Pasley says a third party will now come in and review the situation. He says the board wants to make sure worker mental health is a top priority and that Mosley would be taking a paid leave of absence while it goes on. But the group says they fear the outside review is just to cover up the problems.
I see them setting this up to gaslight everybody and that they're going to eventually find a way to reestablish him in that position.
It's going to break loose, Luke, if he is not off, if he's not removed from that campus.
Wait, was the president this
And
white
the fallout
boy
involving President John Mosley?
Is that the president? It looks like it says John Mosley there on his placard. This is a HBCU. Does anybody see an issue here? Yeah. Does that strike you as odd? That there's a white boy as the president of an HBCU. In the president's role? What? I mean, you would want some level of diversity in your staff, I would assume, but white boy president just seems real, optics don't seem good with that. Especially now that you've had an administrator kill herself. Holy shit. This is Lincoln University of Missouri. Died on January the 8th. Her letter to Mosley, Candia Bailey recalled an apparent meeting between the two. I couldn't even finish the meeting because you didn't hear me. I left in tears. You intentionally harassed and bullied me and got satisfaction from sitting back and ensure I failed as an employee and proud alumni. Candia Bailey also stated in the letter that she was never made aware of concerns about her performance until a November 2023 performance review and was never given an action plan to address the concerns afterward. Candia Bailey also had submitted complaints to HR and to the Board of Curators about Mosley, who, oh my God, that's what he looks like? I don't want to judge somebody by their looks. I say that a lot. Bow tie. The blonde hair, blue eye. Nazi fucking haircut. I shouldn't label him as such, but Jesus. You can't tell me that's not a Nazi-like haircut. Candia Bailey, 49, and previously worked as Vice President of Student Affairs and Chief Diversity Officer and Title IX Coordinator at Elms College in Chicopee. I like saying that. Chicopee. Toads, good evening. I'm sorry you came in on this story. It's infuriating. However, I like saying Chicopee. Chicopee. You know what? I like to Chicopee in Dan Crenshaw's Open Eye Hole. Ma'am, you should have stayed in Chicopee, Massachusetts. This is according to Lincoln University's announcement of Candia Bailey's hiring. She also served in administrative positions at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's a shit college. Towson University. No, wait a minute. University of Wisconsin-Madison's cool. I'm thinking of like Madison College. And that's the one that's like a Bible-thumping for-profit. I'm sorry, University of Wisconsin-Madison. What is oh God, I've heard this one before. I've never had a garbanzo bean on my face. I don't know if I'd get as much satisfaction as paying a woman to piss in Dan Crenshaw's eye hole. It's a power thing for me, not a sexual thing. So I kind of have to do it. It kind of needs to be my pee. Never had a garbanzo bean in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. Ha ha! I'm sorry I ruined your joke, Tones. I'm not wearing any pants. I'm also really hot tonight. Hell yeah, BB girl. Made that paper. That's what I've been doing when I've not been streaming, but goddamn do I love streaming. I hate streamers, I hate streaming. But like I like doing this. I like finding out what that news be doing. Ooh, Tones, you came just in time. This is the story I think I'm looking forward to most tonight. We got a couple more doozies I want to look into, but I think this is the one that like I'm has most piqued my interest, you could say. I don't even know. I'll let ABC News tell it because I don't even. Dude murdered his wife back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. The Scott Peterson motherfucker. It was a big deal. It like made Nancy Grace's career for her. But like I remember people talking about it. All that I want to say mid 2000s. I want to say it was around 2004, 2005. That sounds about right to me. The Scott Peterson motherfucker. So he was apparently sentenced to death and had his death sentence overturned. Now the Innocence Project is taking up his case. Did this motherfucker not kill his wife? I don't know anything about it. This isn't one of the ones that piqued my interest. Until now, with the Innocent Project being like, is this motherfucker, he's not guilty? What? Because like I just always assume like, he killed his wife. Seems right. Like most murders are murders of passion with lovers and shit, right? I fucked up.
Innocence Project has taken up the notorious case of convicted killer Scott Peterson and is seeking evidence from the original trial. For more, let's bring in our Alex Stone in Los Angeles. Alex, I can't believe it's been 20 years since the death of Laci Peterson. You and I both covered this story. I did when I was a reporter there in Los Angeles. What kind of evidence are we talking about, and where do you see this going?
Well, we're just beginning right now, Kira, to go through this document that we have obtained exclusively that shows that the Innocence Project is now at least beginning to take up this case of Scott Peterson, asking for evidence from the original trial, saying that they want to look through that evidence. Historically, when the Innocence Project gets involved, they only get involved if they believe they can win a case. This appears to be the beginning stages of the Innocence Project getting involved. Some of the evidence they lay out of a burglary near the Peterson home around that time, making the allegation that maybe, at least it's been out there, we know the Peterson family has talked about it before, that maybe somebody else committed this crime, killing Laci Peterson and their unborn child on Christmas Eve in 2002. The fingers were pointed at Scott Peterson. His family has always claimed he didn't do it. It appears with this filing that the Innocence Project will be making that claim.
Well, let's just go back to his young wife, 27 years old. She was pregnant, and all the evidence after her death that led right to him and why he was convicted.
There was a lot of evidence, and as you mentioned, we both covered it. We spent a lot of time in Redwood City where the trial was held over many months, and then the sentencing in 2005, I believe, when he was actually sentenced. But the case, the trial in 2004, there was a lot of evidence that came back to him of a fishing trip that he had gone on, and her body was found in generally an area where they believed he had been in. They knew that he had been having an affair. Amber Fry, you remember her name coming into all of this, and her testimony and information that came into it. There was quite a bit of evidence to convince.
I can see why this was a national story back in the mid-2000s. It's got everything. It's salacious as fuck. I don't know if I'm convinced of his guilt, though. I don't know if I'm convinced of his innocence.
The jury. Now, in the last year or so, his family and he have really made the claim that he is innocent. They got his death penalty sentence tossed out over juror misconduct. He has claimed that one of the jurors, actually one who was quite well known at the time with bright pink and bright red hair, that she had not disclosed some things when she got on the jury, and that would have made a difference. The judge ended up giving him life in prison a number of months ago instead of the death penalty, going off of death row, which is still technically at San Quentin, even though they've pretty much disbanded death row in California. So there have been a lot of changes to his case here in the last year or so, but this is a big development. If the Innocence Project is getting involved, appears to be asking for evidence to begin making a case that either he should be released or that he should get a new trial. We're going through the documents right now to better understand them.
I don't know. It sounds like they're just looking into it. Like somebody's made the Peterson family has made a pitch to the Innocence Project, and somebody has said, all right, we'll look into it, and that's where they're at, and it's not much more than that. And these processes take fucking years. It's insane how slow our justice system moves, especially when somebody's been convicted. The appeals process, trying to get somebody who's innocent out of prison, that should not be as hard as it fucking is. I am for a hardcore judicial reform. Speaking of taking far too long to come to trial, U.S. climate scientist defamation case over online attacks finally comes to trial. Michael Mann alleges in a lawsuit first brought in 2012. I was off earlier. It's 12 years. 12 years ago. That attacks on his work by climate denialists amount to defamation. Lawsuit first instituted over 10 years ago, brought by an esteemed climate scientist over alleged defamation by a right-wing blogger and an analyst, goes to trial this week. Ooh, this is fun. The 2012 court case was brought by the University of Pennsylvania earth and environmental scientist Michael Mann, who is alleging that online attacks on his work amount to defamation. The litigation targets two writers, Rand Simberg, analyst at the right-wing think tank Competitive Enterprise Institute, who published a piece comparing Mann to a convicted serial child molester. The National Review blogger Mark Stein, who in a blog post favorably quoted Simberg and called Mann's research fraudulent. Mann originally went after both publishers as well, but in a 2021 court ruling, they ruled that neither the Competitive Enterprise Institute nor National Review could be held responsible for the attacks. I don't see how that's possible. The case comes amid concerns that online abuse of climate scientists has increased in recent years, while misinformation about the climate crisis is also on the rise. The attacks on Mann came as part of a wider campaign against him by a network of climate skeptics connected to fossil fuel billionaire Charles Koch. Competitive Enterprise Institute. Competitive Enterprise Institute. The Competitive Enterprise Institute which claims to fight climate alarmism, has financial ties to the Charles Koch Foundation. Well, the National Review regularly publishes articles dismissing climate concern science as alarmist and has also accepted Koch-linked funding. After the renowned scientist co-published the famous hockey stick graph in 1998, which showed unprecedented global warming in the last century, a slew of groups in the Koch network also bombarded man with freedom of information requests. A Republican congressman who was backed by a PAC established by Koch also served him with a subpoena. Opening statements in the case will begin on Thursday. That was today. Will be live streamed. Ooh, Sunday night we're going to have video. We're going to keep up with this. Trial scheduled to run through at least the 6th of February, and its completion to be decided by a jury verdict. Ooh. I'm stoked on this one. It's amazing it went to trial. Oh, shit. I don't want to talk about this shit. I got puppy bus for the end. You get puppy bus at the end of the stream. We got a long ways to go, though. It's a long hike to get there. Dude, let's do this first. Everybody bombing Iran. Remember when John McCain sang "Bomb Bomb Bomb Iran"? That's what's happening now. Netanyahu says we're attacking Iran directly. This is from the Times of Israel. Netanyahu is asked if he feels if he has anything to apologize for regarding the events surrounding October 7th. He says the way the question was framed is designed to stain him. Nobody is immune from mistakes, including me, he says, but then again criticizes the reporter. I'll continue to fight Hamas and you'll continue to fight me, he says. That's the division of work, he says, between him and the TV studios. In response to another reporter who asked why Israel is suffering with attacks on Iran's proxies rather than attacking Iran directly, Netanyahu responds, "Who says we aren't attacking Iran? We are attacking Iran." And they didn't, the reporter didn't even know if they were attacking Iran or not. And Netanyahu was like, well, fuck yeah, we're attacking them. Iran has further phases to go through that I won't detail on the path to nuclear weapons, he says. I am obliged as the Prime Minister of Israel to do everything to prevent Iran from attaining nuclear weapons. Asked about the progress of the war, he says that 16 or 17 of Hamas's 24 battalions have been destroyed. After that, there's a phase of clearing the territory. The first action is usually shorter. The second usually takes longer. He derides talk of holding elections at a time of war, because of course he does, with campaigns that would divide the people rather than uniting the people, or people seriously suggesting elections. There'll be time for politics after the war, he says. Of course he says. How long is this war going to last, Netanyahu? Regarding reports that he invited opposition party leader Yair Lapid and Avigdor Lieberman to join the coalition, he says, I didn't make any offers. The current emergency war coalition is stable and should be maintained. Going to elections would be irresponsible and would badly halt the war effort. I bet it would. The ones who are hoping for this and for all the other things we hear in the TV studios night after night are Hamas and also its backer Iran. We won't give this to them. We will bring complete victory. That's the words of a fucking madman. So I don't know. Is Israel attacking Iran? I'm not fucking sure at this point. Pakistan is attacking Iran, apparently. Israel-Hamas war deal for release of hostages held by Hamas may be taking shape. Meanwhile, the U.S. military struck multiple Houthi rebel missile sites in Yemen last night as clashes across the Middle East stoke fears of a broader escalation. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to come back to that video. The new deal to secure the release of hostages held by Hamas may be taking shape, although officials caution that no agreement appears imminent. This is according to U.S., Israeli, and Arab officials. The proposal under discussion would entail pauses in violence in exchange for the release of hostages. Pakistan has carried out deadly strikes against targets inside of Iran, retaliating for attacks by Tehran days ago that followed similar attacks in Iraq and Syria. The tit-for-tat exchanges appeared to target separatist militants on either side of the border, ratcheting up tensions between the two neighbors, but also stoking fears of regional escalation amid the Israeli-Hamas war. I hate calling it that because you can't really have a war with a country that you occupy. The Israeli military has indicated to NBC News that it conducted search and rescue operations, including for the bodies of dead hostages in a cemetery in Gaza. More than 24,600 people have been killed in Gaza since the war began, including more than 10,000 children. This is a disgusting number. More than 60,000 have been injured and thousands more missing and presumed dead. Israeli military officials said at least 193 soldiers have been killed during the ground. 193 soldiers. Compared to 10,000 children. What the fuck is going on? What will Gaza's future be? There's no fucking Gaza anymore. Gaza's fucking future be?
There is a pathway.
This is Saudi Arabia saying they are willing to recognize Israel. And is that Sacha Baron Cohen playing a character? Please. I'm sorry, clinically. I didn't mean to, bum you out. I'm sorry. We should be in the bullshit. We get to the bullshit. There's more bullshit to come. As I said, it was peppered throughout this stream. It wasn't all at the end this time. Is that Sacha Baron Cohen? You're not going to convince me otherwise. Look at this motherfucker.
There is a pathway
He talks like him.
For the region, for the Palestinians, and for Israel. That is peace. And we are fully committed to that. But again, the first step for that is ceasefire. And I will say that a ceasefire, of course, means ceasefire on all sides. But that can only happen as should be a starting point towards a permanent, sustainable peace, which can only happen through true justice for the Palestinian people.
Thank you. And I think also the kingdom has said in that context, it could even be recognition of Israel from the kingdom if that was part of a bigger political agreement.
Certainly.
I don't know what that means. Does it have something to do with the fact that Israel is bombing Iran? Netanyahu has publicly rejected a U.S. push for a Palestinian state. Didn't know U.S. was pushing that hard for it. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he has told the United States that he opposes the establishment of a Palestinian state once the conflict in Gaza comes to an end. I kind of feel like that's what this is all about. In a news conference, the defiant Mr. Netanyahu vowed to press on with the offensive in Gaza until complete victory, the destruction of Hamas, and the return of the remaining Israeli hostages, adding that it could take many more months. We don't want to have elections now. We can't have elections. There's almost 25,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza. 85% of the Strip's population is displaced. Israel is under intense pressure to rein in its offensive and engage in meaningful talks over a sustainable end to the war. Israel's allies, including the U.S. and many of its foes have urged a revival of the long-dormant two-state solution in which a future Palestinian state would sit side by side with an Israeli one. This is the first I'm hearing of this shit. Has the U.S. been doing that? Guys, am I smoking crack? Flash, good evening. Like, is that in the conversation over here? Because I ain't heard that shit at all. And even I've been like, we're long past that at this point. Because, like, there ain't no fucking state left. It's sad. The hope in many circles is that the current crisis could force the warring parties back to diplomacy as the only viable alternative to endless cycles of violence. But for Mr. Netanyahu's comments, his intention appears quite the opposite. During Thursday's news conference, he said Israel must have security control over all land west of the River Jordan, which would include the territory of any future Palestinian state. This is a necessary condition, and it conflicts with the idea of a Palestinian sovereignty. What to do? I tell this truth to our American friends, and I also stopped the attempt to impose a reality on us that would harm Israel's security. Yeah, Flesh, what do you think about the Kingdom of Saudi saying they're willing to recognize Israel after Netanyahu says that he is bombing Iran? This is horrible to watch. It's very depressing. We're reading from the BBC just then. Apparently the BBC is in some hot water over something one of their anchors said. BBC in crisis over Gary Lineker. BBC in crisis over Gary Lineker Israel ban tweet. It makes them look moronic. Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker. He's no Gary Oldham, that's for fucking sure. BBC has been plunged into crisis after its highest paid anchor has been accused of breaching the broadcaster's impartiality rules for the second time in less than a year. Variety understands that BBC Director General Tim Davie and Head of Content Charlotte Moore dropped everything on Monday to have an urgent meeting about Match of the Day host Gary Lineker's retweet of a post urging FIFA and the International Olympic Committee to ban Israel from football tournaments. BBC. That's not a bad idea. Why not? Like, do you ban other countries that are doing genocide? Like, what's the standard? So they want to ban it. He's the Tucker Carlson of the UK. But he wants to ban Israel from the Olympics. Interesting. BBC spokesperson denied that Davie and Moore had cleared their schedules to discuss the bubbling controversy and declined to confirm whether they had met. The Palestinian Football Association calls on IOC Media, FIFA.com, and all regional and international sports bodies to take an urgent stance on Israel's grave violations of human rights. Subject it to legal accountability measures. This read a tweet which was originally posted by the Palestinian Campaign for the Academic and Cultural Boycott. Lineker, who has reportedly been dubbed the Tucker Carlson of the UK by colleagues for his polemic social media presence, is said to have breached the broadcaster's impartiality guidelines by retweeting the post, which he subsequently deleted. Under the BBC social media rules introduced last September after Lineker was briefly suspended for posting about UK's immigration policy. See, I want to back him in this endeavor, but I feel like he's a real shithead. They dubbed him the Tucker Carlson of the UK. And he's tweeting about immigration policy. That can't be good. Presenters of BBC's flagship shows, which explicitly include Match of the Day, are expected to remain impartial on political issues during the period when their programs are on air, as well as a 2-week period before and after. What? Those working on factual journalism production across all divisions are also expected to follow the social media guidelines. Do not support campaigns by using hashtags, no matter how appropriately worthy the cause or how much their message appears to be accepted or uncontroversial. Avoid virtue signaling, repost, likes, or joining online campaigns to indicate a personal view, no matter how apparently worthy the cause. Fair enough, BBC. I mean, make your journalists adhere to those standards. Yeah, these motherfuckers need to stand up for journalists being murdered by Israel, that's for sure. I'm behind this dude on this one. But it's also like, so that's the point. They need to take action against him and draw attention to the issue. He's probably willing to be fired over it. Like, good for him if he is, because he's legitimately violating their policy, but he's trying to cause the stink. So they should give him the stink and draw attention to the issue. That's my stance on the issue. The BBC declined to comment, but the source told Variety, no guidelines were broken, but we agreed it was right to delete the tweet. And if he deleted it, like, fucking move on, I guess. I don't know. But if he wants to really cause a stink, cause a stink. Lineker, a football player turned commentator, has published almost 50,000 tweets on Twitter since joining the platform, often wading into controversial topics. He banks 1.35 million pounds. It's 1.74 million in US dollars a year, making him its highest earning star. He also worked for Qatar-owned broadcaster Al Jazeera between 2009 and 2013, for which he was reportedly paid 1.6 million pounds. So he took a pay cut to go from Al Jazeera to BBC. Latest furor kicked off on Saturday when Lineker retweeted the post calling for a boycott, which included screenshots urging Football Association FIFA and the International Olympics Committee to ban the Jewish country from participating in future football games. That's a cause I'm behind. I like what he's doing. Mega stink. All right, this is where I'm gonna smoke. So this past Monday was MLK Day. And we covered a really bad take, North Carolina politician, on Monday. But I have a feeling we're going to get a really bad take here. Name is Charlie Kirk. And he don't like Martin Luther King Jr. apparently.
And I just said it was kind of a throwaway line, right, Andrew?
It was such a throwaway line.
It was a throwaway thing. I'm just kind of doing this thing, and some tech blog called Wired Magazine.
You'd think they would write about
crypto,
computers, the internet,
Bitcoin, crypto, hacking,
engineering, but apparently
cybersecurity.
they just police what people think about a certain infamous American of the mid-20th century.
Yeah, some holy figure. So I'm going to read this email from...
Must be a religion blog.
Who is this guy? I don't know.
Secular
his
name.
Saint. He says, hi, I'm a reporter with Wired Magazine in New York. I'm reaching out because we're publishing a story about Charlie Kirk's comments on Martin Luther King Jr. and his plan to release content about King on January 15th. Mind you, they act like I'm planning a terrorist attack. Like the way this is written, his plans to create content on January 15th. Like what? I mean, like what am I?
Yeah, dude, that's what you want, right? You want the attention. Why do they have to be coy about it? Chainsaw, good evening.
Like planning like a terrorist attack on Christmas Day. We note in our piece. Oh, so you already wrote the piece. That's what I love about this, right? They're not asking me for comment. They're trying to fill in a couple gaps. We note in our piece. Oh, so you already wrote the piece. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Does Kirk believe...
Wait, what? Once a week, this motherfucker rants about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Are you shitting me? That's psychopathic. Wow.
Believe that racial segregation should be permitted in the United States? Again, this...
I mean, technically, he's the internet, right? That's how he wants to be seen. He's new media. So, it doesn't seem out of the ordinary that Wired would be covering the controversy he's trying to cause. That's what he wants. The indignation on his part is what is appalling to me.
This is how shallow they are. It's as if you don't support the Leviathan and the building of a mass racialized bureaucracy and a refounding of the United States via the Civil Rights Act, you must be pro-racial segregation. Does TPUSA see an intention that it sells merchandise of MLK on its website? By the way, we don't anymore, so this guy's outdated. What role does Blake Neff have in creating content on MLK? Because I said,
what have I done this time?
No, this is what the best part, right? Because I mentioned Blake. And he says, what role? Well, this is the perfect time to release it. This is a perfect time to announce. Little did this reporter know that Blake Neff is director of MLK history at the Charlie Kirk Show.
Yeah, it's my new title right there.
Congratulations.
Right there.
Wow.
MLK truth.
MLK, they
I
didn't
like
know.
the white MLK better. White MLK.
He's also known as the white MLK. No, I'm going to do an hour about how MLK is not worthy of deification and worship, that if you pray in the name of MLK, it does not heal you of the sin of racism.
You know, it's not just
I mean, I can agree with him on that. Like, nobody is worthy of deification. But, like, that seems like a straw man argument to what, like, you know, acknowledging MLK on MLK Day is about. It's not about deifying him.
You know, a religious thing. It's also, they're worried about treason because, you know, what if I'm gonna
have my apartment raided because of this.
We're told America's
that
a
would make
republic
sense.
or a democracy or a democratic republic or a republican democracy, whatever. But we're really a monarchy because if there's one person that like Republicans and Democrats agree is just our supreme authority,
Dolly Parton?
It's Martin Luther King.
No, it's
and what's his last name? His last name is King. And
I wish that we lived by Martin Luther King's writings. That Martin Luther King Jr. was taught in all the fucking schools, all of his views, all his views on war, his views on capitalism. We could totally do that. I would love it if the society ran. It seems like it might be a little outdated in the age of technology and everything, but the basic principle foundation, throw out the Constitution, live by like whatever Martin Luther King Jr. said. Kind of like, I'm down with it. Fuck somebody who's not your wife. Totally into it. That would be really cool, but that is not the society that we live in. It's just like one day we show a little reverence to a guy. That's it. That's all. That's all.
What does everyone call him? MLK. What if I told you that the Semitic root MLK means king?
What?
In
what?
Hebrew.
Is that right?
That is true. 100% true.
Well then, I mean,
what
he is our
what?
king. And the fact that I have some sort of throwaway line, like I'm planning an EMP, that like the Charlie Kirk Show is, in some ways, we kind of are. Because if you think about it, and I did some research of any organization considered mainstream,
it's a whitewashed reverence.
MLK truly is a bipartisan worshipped figure. And they worship, and for all fairness, the right will take one line from MLK and say he's great because of this.
Yeah. Right wingers are too afraid to speak out against him because it makes them seem really racist. And like if it wouldn't cost them votes and get them crucified. Like, Trump could probably speak about MLK and diss him and shit. Probably has, for all I know. If you can find Trump bitching about MLK, we'll totally play that.
And the left
did crack me up.
Stuff that he believed, which is the hyper-racialization of America. And again, I don't want to bury the lead, but how did we get here? And how much of our race-obsessed politics is because of the elevating of MLK? And so what was originally planned as a little sideshow is going to be the main show on Monday.
Definitely took some shots or some reviews, and we went over the history of MLK pretty extensively, and basically came up with this, the formulation that the right needs to stop mythologizing this guy and really needs to stop taking this one line in one speech about, having a dream and children. And obviously, it sounds great, but you have to actually look at his record.
He didn't even know the one line. And probably couldn't tell you anything about MLK's record.
And the things that he did, and the things that he supported, and the people that he supported, the policies that he supported, the mass race riots that were going on all throughout the 1960s that he didn't seem to bat a single eye at, that were going on.
Why is it that the person that gets their own federal holiday...
It's totally not true that he didn't bat an eye. He was probably at a lot of them. Holy shit, they were riots because the police made them riots. They were peaceful protests on the other side because that was kind of their fucking thing. You really just glossed over a lot of shit there.
Is the person we've never actually criticized. Is this the guy that was the father of all nations, Abraham? Is this the guy that...
Father Abraham,
with God,
JFK doesn't even have a holiday.
No, it's so bizarre. And the reason, obviously, is that people are afraid of being called a racist. But we're now in this new era, a brave new world brought to you by Elon Musk. And this Martin Luther King, I'm not going to spoil all of it. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be researched.
Shit.
Everything we're going to say is true. We're going to be fair. We're going to talk about one or two things that MLK got right.
Well, that's one of the things that he brought up. He was like, MLK is the Semitic blah, blah, blah for king. And what are you implying by that? Even if I take you at your word that, like, you're not, like, you sound like one of those hippie chicks that's telling me what the stars are saying. It was like trying to add numbers together and shit. Sorry, I've been editing for a channel that's like yoga instructors and hippie chicks. Oh, it's like I have been with 30 women at least that look exactly like you. The dreads, the tattoos all over them. Sorry. Yeah, the bald dude. Yeah, those. Is it yoga pants or they've got those? The hippie drawers, I don't know what you use, but like it makes asses look really nice. Got the weird little patterns all over them. They flare out at the bottom. I've been around so many of you women. Anyway. Oh, you're talking about the yoga instructor. Is a dude. He looks like Jeffrey Tambor from Arrested Development. Oh, he's very bald, which I'm like, I'm bald. So like, I'm not down for. Oh shit! I don't want to have to read this. This is gonna be horrible. You guys can tell me when to stop. Why do I subject you guys to this shit? Because I'm a shitty person. Oh shit! Is there a video to go with it? If there's a video, we'll watch it. But it's an ad fucking buffering. I'm Nick Salmon. There we go.
And I'm the teenager who was defamed by the media after an encounter with a group of protesters on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial last year. I found myself face to face with Nathan Phillips and other professional protesters looking to turn me into the latest poster child showing why Trump is bad. While the media portrayed me as an aggressor with a relentless...
This video had to be years ago, because, like, that wasn't last year.
Smirk on my face. In reality, the video confirms I was standing with my hands behind my back and an awkward smile on my face that hid two thoughts. One, don't do anything that might further agitate the man banging a drum in my face. And two,
oh, now people from not all people from Kentucky are inbred.
Never to do anything to embarrass your family, your school, or your community. What I thought was a strange encounter quickly developed into a major news story, complete with video footage. My life changed forever in that one moment. The full war machine of the mainstream media revved up into attack mode. They did so without researching the full video of the incident, without ever investigating Mr. Phillips' motives.
I don't think the media did shit. I think people shared out his social media and, you know, on social media and came to their own conclusion. Because I want to say, like, was this during the pandemic? This was today, published today. I was the Covington Catholic student. I refused to capitulate. That's different from the video we just watched. I don't know when that video was, but it wasn't current. My Catholic faith has been present from the beginning of all that happened to me. The day after the incident at the Lincoln Memorial, with the help of Scott Jennings, I released my first written statement. It all came from me. They were my words. I mentioned that he hired a fucking PR firm. I mentioned that I was praying. That's one of the reasons fucking stressing that it was his words. If they weren't his words, he wouldn't feel the need to stress that they were his words. You gotta think like that. You know, that is something they want to get across to you. I'd never been out of Northern Kentucky bubble before. They consider themselves part of like Cincinnati. They up north. I'm in Eastern Kentucky. I'm a hillbilly, which is very German Catholic and completely different to DC in all ways. Someone coming up off the street and confronting me like that, and okay, I see what he's saying now. And not he's like, I'm coming up off the street, I'm hard. And not having a chaperone intervene was a novel experience. I was accused of stealing Phillips's talking points about the incident because he had been beating a drum in a prayer of his own. The immediate response to me, even though I've been baptized, had my first communion and had been confirmed and go to church every Sunday, was disbelief. But praying in that moment, which was a weird and unfamiliar situation for me, was a logical reaction. I was applying what I know in response to what I don't know. Oh my God, it's such a punchable face. The reaction to my statement was frustrating. His story seemed to change between different outlets and networks, whereas my account of what happened has stayed the same from day one. My faith was questioned, but his never was. What? I'm not saying his should have been, but it was a double standard. I remember a lot of things about that day. At the start, my friends from Covington Catholic High School and I were strolling around close to the Washington Monument when a middle-aged lady jogging past yelled at us, "I hope you never get a girl pregnant." We all looked at each other and knew we weren't in Catholic Northern Kentucky anymore. It was such an unfamiliar experience to be accosted like that without being disrespectful first. That's when it popped into my mind that we were in a politically charged area. But we were 16. You're young and naive, and you don't really understand just how emotional both sides are in the issue, in issues like abortion. You know why you believe what you do, and that's vital. Son, you're fucking 16. You do not know why you believe what you do. And that's vital. But you don't comprehend the strength of feeling in response, or that it creates a lot of tension. After that, we went to the White House, and I remember seeing people protesting about all sorts of things. Not just the March for Life. It was a circus. There's somebody on every corner and a million things being protested at any given time in D.C. The wheels started to turn a little more in my mind. The Washington Memorial, we joined the march towards the Capitol building, and when I got there, I went into the crowd to meet a girl I was dating at the time. I hope you don't get her pregnant. I lost my friends and couldn't find her, so I was alone and worrying about missing the bus home, which was leaving at 5 p.m. from the Lincoln Memorial. That's the one with the giant, like, it's a giant dick in the sky. You can't fucking miss it. My phone had died. I sprinted to the Lincoln Memorial in a panic. But I got there with time to spare. I remember standing around talking to my teachers, and slowly, students... Did I get that right? That is the Lincoln, or is it the Washington Mall? I don't fucking know. She's from Canada, exactly. There was a guy on a singular wheel electric skateboard wearing a ski mask and a helmet, playing music. He's an oddball, but whatever. Not the weirdest thing I've seen all day. And then I noticed the black Hebrew Israelites. Oh my God, I had a conversation about the black Hebrew Israelites with someone earlier today. Don't understand it. Anyway. They were starting to insult the students, which I'd probably be behind the Israelites at this point in time. But they got some crazy fucking beliefs. Found out later that I think they're a cult. Are they a cult? Can I get anybody that's over in Echoplex? Can I get a ruling on is the black Hebrew Israelites a cult? They kind of seem cultish. Found out later that our school was an African-American freshman aged about 13. But then again, I kind of think like all churches are a cult, so. It was a black Hebrew Israelite called Uncle Tom and other names. What? Oh, hold on. They called the freshman from his school. I'm sorry, I'm a little stoned. Who was 13. The black Hebrew Israelite called him an Uncle Tom. Interesting. Our teachers told us not to respond to the berating. Instead, we started our high school spirit chants that we do at basketball or football games to drown out the hatred. It was fun, lighthearted stuff. Just boys being dumb, nothing inappropriate. We got spirit. Yes, we do. We got spirit. How about you? And it worked. How do you even respond to that? We threw them off. And it was perfect. Why did we not see that? Is that on the video? The video was like 30 minutes long. But it's at this point Nathan Phillips gets the wild idea that the situation is going to descend into a fight between a mob of white kids and a small group of African Americans. That was not the case at all, just not going to happen. I can't name a time I ever witnessed a fight in my years at Cov Cath. Phillips decides to, I think there's a couple of them on YouTube, by the way, fights at Covington Catholic. Phillips decides to intercede, so he walks over. I've never seen a school that didn't have fights. I'm standing on a set of stairs on a patch of ice. There are people all around me, and I can't really move because I don't want to slip. I see him moving through the crowd with his drum, and I'm confused about what's going on. Everyone was bewildered, and nobody really knew the gravity of what was going on. Skipping ahead, we were on the bus back to Kentucky. It was somewhere between 2 and 4 in the morning that other students started waking me up and telling me to check Twitter. I was like, what are you talking about? And right then I see it. The edited, very short video of me at the Lincoln Memorial. I'm scrolling through the replies and see that I'm being compared to lunch counter protests during the civil rights movement. I realized things had gone horribly wrong. Number one, this was not news. This was a small encounter that did not concern the national public. It wasn't news. It wasn't so much. It became news because it went viral, motherfucker. It became a fucking news story because everyone was sharing it. And be like, and forming their own fucking opinions based on a short fucking clip. I get you, motherfucker. I understand. But like it's not some conspiracy that's out to get you. It's just like social media being dumb. It's one of the ills that we have. It's one of the hiccups that we have is we're realizing how to cope with this technology. It's another one of the reasons why I feel that we should own our goddamn data. Anyway, sorry. A little tangent. We got home to Kentucky before 8 in the morning. My mom's in the parking lot. She's freaking out because I'd lost my wallet. I turned to her and said, I don't think that's the biggest problem we have right now. She's got no idea what I'm talking about, so I give her the most rudimentary description of everything that's going on and that I hadn't done anything wrong, though a bunch of people online were calling me racist. My parents aren't social media people at all. We go home and I sleep for a couple of hours because I needed it. When I woke up, I immediately wrote a stream of consciousness emails to my principal asking him not to do anything without talking to me first because the situation isn't as he may believe. But the internet had already found out who I was and where we went to school, and his inbox was flooded. So he never saw my email. From there, I believe this. Yeah, I believe that happened. From there, the media coverage spiraled and people were reacting to a misrepresentation of what happened. I don't talk about how it affected me a lot. It's an ongoing thing for me to figure out how to get over. At 6, I mean, okay, yes. Like, I'm laughing at him because he's playing victim and everything. But, like, truly, like, social media, fucking finding out who you are, like changing your life overnight, that's something like that. Like I'm not discounting what he actually went through, but also like fuck you, you smug motherfucker. I have no doubt the gravity of what he faced. It's a reason why I sued the news organizations that spread this story. What I still don't understand what the story was. Like I didn't see Anderson Cooper wasn't on CNN calling you a racist and shit. He might have said something to the effect of like, there are people online saying that he's racist and blah 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 because he's standing nose to nose with the Native American. Like that fucking happened. The news reported on the thing that was a viral sensation. And I feel sorry for him that happened to him. Like he may end up being cool. There's a lot. I was a fucking shithead when I was his age. I might have smirked at a Native American guy that was playing a drum. I don't know, but I also wouldn't have been at a pro-life rally. So, I don't think at any point before knowing what an abortion was, it hadn't become a political issue until I was an adult. We can put it that way. I've always tried to hold the mentality that if I just rolled over and let it all happen.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Especially if I went to the public to say sorry and beg for forgiveness, then that wouldn't have added any meaning to my situation. In many ways, capitulating would have been so much worse for me mentally. It wouldn't have worked. Standing up for myself and adding meaning has been a powerful driver, and my faith has helped, believing that this situation was given to me by a higher power. As part of our case, we worked with a forensic psychology firm. I met with several doctors and I've talked to other people that have asked me questions and provided good context and ways of thinking about things. But I've been very resistant and stubborn, kind of classic male stereotype. The fact that they let him write this in Newsweek is disgusting. That I've wanted to process as much of this mentality on my own without outside help or taking any over-the-counter prescriptions as a way out. That's just a personal decision. I didn't want to ever feel like I was doing something that would admit defeat, that they did get a piece of me and I wouldn't be able to reclaim it. I refuse to go to... Okay, on the one hand, I'm disgusted that Newsweek would publish this, but on the other hand, I'm riveted. I'm riveted reading this. I figured I would stop a lot sooner. That's just a personal decision. I didn't want to ever feel like I was doing something that would admit defeat, that they did get a piece of me, and I wouldn't be able to reclaim it. I refuse to go down the road of using Valium to sleep or an antidepressant or something like that. So I hate this because it's medicine shaming. There's the issue is more nuanced than people make it, because we do overprescribe medicine, but we absolutely have people that a dosage of medicine would be helpful to them. I've seen it change lives. And I encourage people to seek help when they feel they need it. So I don't like the fucking medicine shaming. So I've dealt with it by talking, because it's a fucking function of capitalism that we overprescribe. That's just an ill of the system that we're in. So I've dealt with it by talking to people and finding purpose in what I do, and I'll keep figuring it out and moving forward. People still recognize me and will approach, but the longer it is from the event, the less often that happens. So I wouldn't know you if I saw you, you piece of shit. So far, 100% of these interactions have been positive, or rather, not negative. Usually goes one of two ways. Either what was it like, or how much money did you get? And then it's always the classic line for me: the terms of the settlement were confidential and we came to a mutual agreement. Stop asking me about that. My perception of the general conversation online since 2019 is that things have gotten worse. Boy howdy! Whenever I open up, I thought I was doing the troll patrol when he did that shit, but apparently I was not. Whenever I open up my phone each day, it feels like people are even... I was doing the dry runs for it all the way back then. So perhaps I did. Perhaps I talked about it, but it doesn't exist in the library. Whenever I open up my phone each day, it feels like people are even more dug into their tribal positions than before. Nobody can seem to agree on a set of facts. There's a disconnect, and it's sad. What gave me hope about my own situation is that many people, Republicans and Democrats, are reasonable. Honey. And don't tread the party line or buy into it completely. That's the thing. People usually perceive my incident as a political issue, but it's not. Obviously, I was wearing the red hat, so that added a political shade to it. Really, though, it's a case about me and journalism not done correctly. I don't think the journalism wasn't done. Like, you were on TV within days. You yourself said you issued a fucking written statement. Doesn't matter what your political views are. Everybody can be on the same page that what happened to me was wrong. Ho! We can all agree I'm right about this. We can all agree I was wronged in the situation. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I was wronged. I love this. I love this. So I guarantee you, whoever he sued settled for less money than what it would cost to fight the case. That's always what the issue was. Didn't he sue CNN or something like that? Somebody sued CNN and they settled, and everybody points to that. It's like, oh, CNN lies. They admitted it. And I'm like, no. They settled the case for less than what their lawyers would cost. And this motherfucker gets come out, I can't tell you the terms of the settlement. It gets to lead you to believe he won something out of it. Doesn't matter what your political views are, everybody can be on the same page that what happened to me was wrong. And I've talked to a lot of people who don't believe anything I believe, but said they think I got screwed on this one. That's always been reassuring. But I think we were wrong to assume that the courts were going to treat us favorably and there would be these huge payouts. Some people in the background were telling me we would take them to the cleaners at trial and it hurt the media companies in their pockets so they'd learn. My lawyers were very skeptical about the motivations of the judges who heard my case. Their skepticism proved accurate. It was the judges. Oh, so they did try to get a huge payout and they did get denied. It was the judges' fault. They were Soros judges. And clearly that hasn't happened. We were denied in the Sixth Circuit of Appeals, and we're now petitioning the Supreme Court. You can make the argument that, since me, the same thing is still happening to other people, such as Kyle Rittenhouse. In some lesser-known cases, the media hasn't changed. It's the same as before. Probably worse, but definitely not better. What astute commentary. And yet I'm still riveted. My advice to someone that goes through something like this, like I did, is, number one, you need a good support structure around you. That's true. That's very good advice, actually. For me, that was a family and a great set of friends. Religious people that I trust that I could go to. I really needed that. Religion, hey, it works for some people. It provides a sense of community. I get it. I understand. He's right about the support system. But that's fucking anything. That's to succeed in life. You need a good support system around you. Or at least it fucking helps. Another piece of advice is, don't expect the court to be friendly to you. We thought our case was cut and dried. If this isn't defamation, then what is? That was my thinking. Motherfucker, because your telling of events isn't correct. But you need to be prepared for that long haul, and a support system is essential. There'll be a lot of ups and downs. Going through that slow court process on your own would be agonizing. People should be mentally prepared for it to last years. It will drag out, and you will need people that care about you around you. And one other thing I've done that I would recommend is try to avoid. I feel like rich parents. When he's saying that, I feel like shout out to fucking having rich family. Like, it could be wholesome, but I don't really think it is. One thing I've done that I would recommend is try to avoid doing media. I stay away unless I see a purpose. I get 1 million podcast requests, and I could appear on Fox if I wanted to. I love those people. And there are things where I could provide valuable context or perspective because my situation is unique. But I generally try to stay away from media unless I can see a clear goal of how it will help, instead of me just being a talking head all the time. These days, I'm in the last semester of my senior year at college, studying politics, philosophy, and economics. Oh, no. No. I've also been working in politics, which is just as important to me. Oh, fuck. We haven't heard the last of this kid. I worked my freshman year for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on his campaign. I've also worked for Representative Andy Barr, our local congressman in Lexington. I worked for Ambassador Kelly Craft on a Republican primary campaign for Kentucky governor. Everybody comes out of a college with a GPA and a list of a few clubs, but I want to leave with a professional resume where I've had salaried roles with experienced colleagues who are a few years older as peers. I'd like to work on Capitol Hill in D.C. when I graduate. And he's going to. He's fucking going to. He's fucking going to. Yeah, this is the best thing that ever fucking happened to you. Jesus fucking Christ. And you're playing victim. I took a turn towards politics in high school, particularly with the March for Life, and some of the advice I got after what happened. That was a catalyst. A friend also introduced me to CovCath's mock trial team, and I really enjoyed it. We went to state 3 years in a row, and I won some awards, and it led me to want to be a lawyer. As a kid, in my head, I was like, I get to argue with people for a living and be paid a nice amount of money. Perfect. But last year, I decided not to go to law school. The tuition fees were astronomically high, and I didn't want to be grinding it out for 70 hours a week as a first-year lawyer, barely earning what I paid in fees. Someone put in the work is what he's saying. Spoke to people, including Catholic priests. They said it was up to me to make something out of what happened and use it as an opportunity. That's what led me to politics. I bet. The motivation for politics wasn't that I sat around all day and watched Ben Shapiro in high school, though I certainly did. It's connected to my faith and feeling good about myself. My end goal is to help people by bringing about change in their lives, and I can do that by working with elected representatives. Nicholas Salmon is a student at Transylvania University in Lexington, Kentucky. He was a Covington Catholic high school student at the center of a viral video controversy known as the Lincoln Memorial Confrontation that took place on January 18th, 2019. This is media. This is well played. I went for it. I read it. Fucking read it from beginning to end. Thought I wouldn't get halfway through it. Congrats. Not that it was good. It was titillating to me that you have such a inflated ego. It's rich. And the shout out to Ben Shapiro. Mwah. Wow. You guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Not wearing any pants. I fuck like that. Like next story doesn't even like I can't now. So I just gotta put on Puppy Bus and go. Hold on, Mo. You tell that to them.
Hi, I'm Mo. I am the owner of Mo Mountain Mutts, which is a dog walking, training, and pet sitting business in Southeast Alaska. I've got a bus. I pick up dogs, and I take them for off-leash.
You're leaving during
in my vest.
Puppy Bus.
Leashes. Some of the dogs are also wearing a leash on their harness. It's retractable in my pockets. I have a whistle.
Puppy Bus is the best part.
I got everybody's attention. Bear spray, treats, skin and coats, remotes because they are all e-collar trained to come to the vibration. If they get out of earshot, it's really windy. Also, they're kind of noisy and sometimes they can't hear you calling or the whistle blowing if they're down on the beach wrestling and barking. So it's a good way to interrupt play and tell them to come back, check in, and get some beef liver. Got my walkie-talkie so I can talk to my husband. Got a spare leash. We're gonna let them off in groups of 3 to 4 and they're gonna go poop and I'm gonna pick up. I'm loaded. Right, everybody has gone poop.
Please, baby.
Come on, let's go. I know, you got beef with the birds, huh? Come on, let's go.
Who isn't beefing with the birds?
We have a cat that we let out on our deck.
Listen for the government.
The birds will harass the cat, and I let Carl yell at the birds.
Oh my God, PB girl, you missed the saga of.
There's my husband Lee. He's carrying our son Vern.
Nicholas Sandman. Oh my God, I can't even.
Louie would like to dig in that hole too.
I spent 15 minutes reading that. Riveting.
Digging like a maniac.
He is like a maniac. I love it.
Mud.
This is a long video. You know me, I might watch Puppy Bus 2 or 3 times.
A lot of people ask about wildlife. We don't usually see anything other than squirrels and birds. Get out of there. Yarrow, what do you have? Yarrow, drop it. Good girl. So they're all trained. Drop it.
Talking to women is a lot of work.
Recall. Walking nice on a
That's the main reason why I've been avoiding it as I get
A
older.
lot of people ask other questions like, how do they not fight?
It's like,
Temperament
pussy's
tested
not
and
worth
paired
the
up with
effort.
friends. These aren't a bunch of random, strange dogs. We live in a really
I
small
get some
town.
dick really easy if I
A lot
want.
of these dogs know each other. Some of the dogs all live together, like Jameson, Carolyn, and Guinness live together. Stella and Olaf live together. Echo, Carl, and Louie live together.
You can just go online
And
on
Yarrow and
Grindr.
Gumbo's humans are really good friends. A lot of these dogs know each other outside of pack walks. When I'm doing a meet and greet, I always ask.
Now my
maybe
photos
if they
are
know any
outdated
of
because I
the
put
ponies
bald
that our dogs already
photos up.
How do they not run away? I don't let dogs off leash that I don't trust.
I got
Echo,
hair
far
again.
enough.
I got Chairman Mao hair.
They know all my commands
Look at these babies.
before I let them off leash. A lot of these dogs started when they were puppies, so they kind of grew up learning the pack walk rules, and so it's just kind of their life. Hi, Mark.
That was a Mario swimming right there, I think.
Another question people always ask is, what's the weather like? It's wet and rainy. A high of 40 and a low of
thank you guys.
31 today, according to my Apple Watch. Pretty cloudy.
I had a
I'm gonna give the
rip-roaring
camera
good
over to my
time
husband
tonight.
so we can get a little doggy on some loggies. So hop up.
I'm assuming this was earlier in the year.
Straight.
Probably like fall.
Turn around.
If it was like January,
Carl, hop up.
it'd be snow everywhere.
Okay. Very good.
I would
Echo, look.
assume.
Good dog.
I don't know.
Very
Global
good.
warming.
Good dogs. Okay. I can't see Echo.
Look how good they are. Oh my
stay.
god.
I'm gonna move Stella.
Stella's back there too.
Yep. Good dogs. Good stay. Very good, Stella. Very good.
Beautiful.
Stay. Very good. Okay, can you see Echo?
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Good stay. All right, picture time. Good stay. And can you see Olaf?
Holy shit. See, oh, they deserve treats.
Your sister Echo.
Weenie dogs next stream.
Louie. Stella. Olaf.
Ooh, Olaf's so cute.
Fish.
Oh my god, fish is so fluffy.
Mina.
Mina, like fucking
Amaru.
color. I love Amaru.
Seat Hog Boo.
Boo.
Deshu. Gumbo.
Like a basset hound named Gumbo.
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Yarrow. And Jameson. Please stay in your seats till we get to your house. Carol's looking for that crumb that I dropped. Pause to yourself. Tails out of the eye.
Alex is telling me he wants food. After I stepped in your vomit
Stella,
earlier.
you are sitting in the emergency exit. Yes, we have lots of. Are you guys all willing and capable of offloading the pups at a remote chance of an emergency?
They agreed. You saw it. They all agreed.
Recall, walking nice on a leash. A lot of people ask other questions like, how do they not fight? They are temperament tested and paired up with friends. These aren't a bunch of random, strange dogs. We live in a really small
They're all
town.
buddies.
A lot of these dogs know each other. Some of the dogs all live together, like Jameson, Carolyn, and Guinness live together. Stella and Olaf live together. Echo, Carl, and Louie live together. And Yarrow and Gumbo's humans are really good friends. A lot of these dogs know each other outside of pack walks. When I'm doing a meet and greet, I always ask the newbie if they
Hampered
know
fucking dogs.
any of the other dogs we already walked. How do they not run away? I don't let dogs off leash that I don't trust. Echo, far enough! They know all my commands before I let them off leash.
And they get to just go out and party.
A lot of
with
these
their
dogs
friends.
started when they
That's
were
what this is
puppies.
for them.
So they kind of grew up
Going out and partying.
learning the pack walk rules. And so it's just
I'll get back to doing the freak show shortly. Freak show banner pops up.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Like, give me another week or two. We'll get back to the swing of things.
Another question people always ask is, what's the weather like? It's wet and rainy.
What's the weather like up there?
A high of 40 and a low of 31 today, according to my Apple Watch. Pretty cloudy.
That's not bad.
I'm going to give the
It's
camera
way
over to
colder
my
here.
husband so we can get a little doggy on some loggies. So hop up.
Doggies on some loggies.
Some treats. Ooh, turn around. Good boy, sit. Carl, hop up. Good, stay. Very good. Echo, look.
So fucking cute.
Good dogs. Very good. Good dogs. Okay. I can't see Echo's face. Good, stay. I'm going to move Stella.
Stella's back there too.
Yep. Good dogs. Good, stay.
Oh, Stella. Don't hide.
Very good. Good girl. Good, stay. Very good. Okay, can you see Echo?
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, stay. All right, picture time. Good, stay. And can you see Olaf? Here's Guinness.
Guinness.
Sister Echo.
Echo's
Carl. Louie.
Oh, Louie.
Stella. Olaf.
I want an Olaf.
Fish.
Olaf, my kind of dog.
Mina.
I want too big a dog.
Amaru. Seat Hog Boo. Deshu.
One of these days, this millennial will
Gumbo?
obtain a house. I will buy a house and I will have a dog.
Carolyn. Yarrow.
You always ask me, like, oh, are you a dog or cat person?
Please stay in your
I like
seats
all
till
animals.
we get to your house. Carol's looking for that crumb that I dropped.
Cats are just more
Pause
attuned
to
my
yourself.
lifestyle as it is.
Tails out of the aisles.
Dogs require a lot of
Stella,
attention.
you are sitting in the emergency
They're a
exit.
very big
It wasn't.
time drain.
Are you guys all willing
Not a
and
bad
capable
thing.
of offloading the pups in a remote chance of an emergency?
They're very needy.
Echo, Carl, and Louie live together. And Yarrow and Gumbo's humans are really good friends. A lot of these dogs know each other outside of pack walks. When I'm doing a meet and greet, I always ask the newbie if they know any of the other dogs we already walked. How do they not run away?
I
don't let dogs off leash that I don't trust. Echo, far enough.
Roxy. Roxy was a wild one.
You know
she
all
was
my
a pit
commands
bull.
before I let them off leash. A lot of these dogs started when they were puppies,
Sparkles.
so they kind of grew up
I
learning
would
the
watch
pack walk
Roxy
rules,
for.
and so it's just kind of their life.
Roxy liked to watch Love Boat or The Office. cuddle under the blanket. And it was wonderful.
Question people always ask is, what's the weather like? It's wet and rainy. A high of 40 and a low of 31 today, according to my...
One time I went over to Sparkle's house.
Cloudy.
And she was talking about like wanting to cut Roxy's toenails. I was like, I can hold her down for you to cut her toenails. And I take off my jacket, and Roxy's like seeing me square up, and she goes into defense mode, and she was ready to fucking fight me. Like, maybe I can't hold her down.
Echo, look. Good dog. Very good. Good dogs.
I like dogs.
See Echo's face. Good, stay.
Even when Roxy was mad at me.
Yep. Good dogs. Good, stay.
Still abused by it. Fox went over there, stood on the couch. I was gonna try to show him to you.
Stay.
Oh, cat.
Okay, can you see?
I should show a Smokey.
I think so. Good.
Yeah.
Good, stay. All right, picture time. Good, stay. And can you see Olaf? Guinness. Her sister Echo. Carl. Louie. Stella. Olaf.
Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you Sunday night on Troll Patrol. Live.